What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline live on this fine Thursday evening. Well, if you saw the thumbnail, if you saw the title, today's going to be Star Wars heavy because we're talking about Ahsoka, and we're also going to be talking about some third-party stuff, some not third-party stuff that's really cool. So a lot of cool stuff to talk about. How's everybody doing tonight? I see 12 people in here already. Everybody's ready to go. I love to see it. Thank you so much, everybody. We're going to say what's up to everybody in the chat, of course, as always. But really quickly, I'm sure you guys, you can see it. We have a familiar face on here, but we also have a new face on here. I'm sure you guys have seen him around. We have EvilSneaker here tonight. EvilSneaker. Is it okay if I use your real name?
Yeah.
So we have Steve here tonight. Steve, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah,
EvilSneaker, you know, I recently came across his channel just by looking around on YouTube. You know, my boy Austin's always sharing his stuff. So, and when I came across his channel and found out that he was doing some stuff with Chris Collecting Madness here, I really took an interest in your stuff and you as a person. I think he's a really cool dude. He's got some great content. So guys, there is a link in the description. Please, at some point during the stream, check him out. I'm sure the moderators in here will be dropping links to his channel, but it's so great to have you here, Steve. And Steve and I will be doing stuff together on his channel as well. I'm sure. I know we have something we're talking about right now. So, but it's great to have you here, and I'm sure you're excited to be on because you know we've been chatting for a little bit, and you're always in the chat dropping some great words of wisdom and stuff. So it'd be great to have you on stream to hear your thoughts and everything.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate the kind words as well.
Dude.
So
absolutely, man. Absolutely, nothing but love. And as I said, Steve. You know, Mike's going to come in here fashionably late. Steve felt bad because he came in right before we started. I'm like, at least you beat Mike. Mike's sorry, guys.
There he is.
Nah, dude, it's all good. We're not even getting started yet, dude. You just came in right. I was just introducing everybody. You know, we got EvilSneaker here tonight. You knew he was coming in, but I was letting everybody in the chat know we got a new face on here. So, but Mike, thanks for coming in, bro. We're chatting beforehand. We're ready to have this discussion about Ahsoka. I know there's a lot to be had about it. And some really cool stuff on the horizon possibly for this line. So I'm really excited. And I think we have a great group of guys here to talk about it tonight. So, and I know a lot of people in the chat are really hyped about this Ahsoka line. So I got some good questions for you all, a couple good questions, and then we're going to have a good discussion about it. So, and finally, Chris, the Collecting Madness here with his Venom figure. He's kind of teasing you guys with a new video that he's about to put up very soon. He just filmed that today. So, Chris, it's great to have you here as always. And thank you so much for being here. As everybody else in the panel, right when we're started, I very much appreciate it. So I'm sure the people in the chat do as well.
Lock it up.
Yes, sir. Guys, drop that like if you haven't already. We got 18 people watching already. I very much appreciate it. But let's say what's up to everybody in the chat. TK is always here first. TK is one of our moderators in the Facebook and in the Discord group. But TK, thank you so much for being here. He says, my wallet is safe. Well, yeah, for me, unfortunately, and for a lot of us on this panel, unfortunately, that's not the case. But it's always good to save money, isn't it? Because unfortunately, I'm not doing a lot of that lately. But thank you so much for being here. Carlito, thank you so much for being here. Carlito, one of my great friends. Carlito has been so generous to me. He's hooked me up a couple times with different things. So Carlito, thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you, especially when you're able to make it to the lives, because I know sometimes scheduling is hard. Payton23 is here. Payton says, good evening, everyone. Payton is another one of our great moderators. Thank you so much for being here, Payton, the GIF Meister, as we call him in the Facebook group. He's got a GIF for every situation, trust me. But thank you so much for being here, Payton. Now, we were kind of discussing this beforehand. Control-Alt-Delete says, morning all. The day I decided not to have a morning walk, the stream started later. And I was like, the stream is not starting later. We're starting on time. And then I forgot. I think Control-Alt-Delete is in Singapore, and we are now in daylight savings time. So now that all makes sense. So thank you so much for being here, Control-Delete. I'm sorry about the time difference. You know, I guess that's the way the world works for us. But I'm so glad that you're able to make it out to us. So I very much appreciate it. Let's see who else we got here. Boba Fettuccini is here. I know Boba Fettuccini, we're going to be getting him on here soon. We've been chatting backstage here and there. So Boba Fettuccini says, what's up all? Let's get this done. It's great to have you here. One of my favorite usernames, as I always say. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here. 12-inch Moose Stream is in the house. What's up, dude? Saying good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, Moose. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for dropping in tonight. Let's see who else we got. Blackbird Tech. Great to see you, Blackbird Tech. As always, dude, I'm loving the profile picture. Anything Batman, you know, I'm hyped for it. So thank you so much for being here, dude. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on everything tonight. Who else we got here? Eclectic Collector. Eclectic Collector says, what up, everyone? What's up, Eclectic? Great to see you, bro. I hope you're doing well, man, on this fine Thursday evening. Guys in the chat, are you guys getting rain like we are? We're just getting like a wave of rain today. Chris asked me earlier. He's like, it's raining here. Is it rain there yet? And it didn't make it down this way yet, but it is now. So I guess that bit of a heat wave that we had is kind of calming down a little bit. Let's see. We got Action in the Box. What's up? What's up, Action in the Box? Action in the Box says, good evening, fellow collectors. Good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Dude, what a talented guy, man. I've really been enjoying his content.
Yeah, man. I've
So
recently
awesome.
been checking him out. I feel like,
Me
you
too.
know, I'm finding all these hidden gems, you know. So
Yeah, he's a really good dude, Ricardo. Yeah.
I've heard.
Great
Yeah, I
guy.
haven't had a chance to speak to him personally, but you know, maybe we'll work that out, dude. Like I said, we're going to be bringing more people in. So yeah, Action in the Box. If that's your thing, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Personally, I haven't seen you on any streams, but if that's your thing,
he's going to be on my show. Actually, I'm going to do a Collector Tour episode with him next week.
So, dude, he beat me to it.
Plug for myself.
So now I'm copying Steve.
Yeah.
Now I'm a copier, dude.
He's going to be on my show next week. I think it's Tuesday. So I'm really looking forward to that. When I talked to him last week, and yeah, he's a really, really cool dude. Really talented. Really cool.
There you go, guys. So once again, the link in the description to EvilSneaker's channel. There's a little sneak peek of what he's got going on. Collector Joey is here. What's up, Joey? Joey says, good afternoon, fellas. Good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you guys are in the world. Thank you so much for being here, Joey. Let's see who else we got here. Ty is here. Ty says EvilSneaker is on the panel. Hey, y'all, excited for today's stream. Ty is one of our great moderators, a good friend. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, we have a great panel tonight, and maybe one or two more joining us. I'm not sure, but yeah, hopefully we'll see a little bit later. We got Jeremy Casa from Plastic Hero Collectibles, always calling me an influencer because he knows I don't like that. My favorite influencer / streamer / reviewer is live. Yes. And guys, as always, he knows I'm going to plug him. Check out Plastic Hero Collectibles. There's a link in the description. He has a Facebook group. And I promise you, this dude can find literally anything that you need, especially secondary market stuff. But he also does new pre-orders for third-party, Hot Toys, whatever you're looking for. So especially if you're overseas and not in the U.S., it even makes it that much more worth it because he's based out of Australia. So definitely check him out. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. As always, guys, if I do, I'll say what's up to you as we go through the stream when I see your comments. Brick Artemis is here. What's up, dude? Brick Artemis is here. He says, what is up, guys? What's up to you, man? Good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here. A lot of great people here tonight, guys. David is here. What's up, David? David often appears on the channel. David says, Father Time waits for no collect. Yeah, trust me. I'm feeling that right now with all these pre-orders, dude. Nothing truer has been said, that's for sure. Let's see who else we got. Violet is here. What's up, Violet? Violet says, hey, guys, what's up? What's up, Violet? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We very much appreciate it. I think I got everybody. As always, guys, if I miss you and you make comments throughout the stream, I will definitely make an effort to say what's up to you or read your comments. So without further ado, guys, we're going to jump right into it. We're talking about Marrok tonight, guys. Now, the crazy thing is, you know, there's been a big discussion when this figure popped up. Everybody's like, all right, so we got this guy, you know, he didn't really do much. That, you know, and Mike and I kind of touched on this when we were talking privately earlier. Everybody's like, he didn't really do much. So why do we have this one before Balin and before Shin? But putting that aside, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit more once we hear everybody's thoughts on this figure. But putting that aside, guys, and just looking at what Hot Toys has presented us here, I think this is a very exciting figure in terms of execution. It doesn't quite show in this photo. If you zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see it, but there's actually like a tremendous amount of weathering on this guy. You can kind of see it here. And I think they did a great job at mimicking like rust on metal. And this guy very much gives us like a, you know, this is like a knight inspired outfit for sure. This armor is very knight inspired. And someone in that Facebook chat was comparing it to Monty Python, which I thought was pretty funny because I was like, oh, I'm not the only one that's seeing like some knight vibes here. But yeah, guys, I mean, despite the fact that, you know, this character didn't have a tremendous role in the show, I think we have to recognize the tremendous amount of potential for this figure among other figures. Because think of it, guys, if you invested in the Kenobi line in terms of the Inquisitors, how badass is it going to be to have like an entire Inquisitor / baddie display with all these guys together? I mean, that's what I'm imagining for my collection. And, you know, and Mike, and we can kind of touch on this now, I guess, while we're getting into it. You know, you and I were talking about, we think it's a great looking figure. Obviously, we're really excited. It's another figure in the Ahsoka line. But Mike, I want to hear your thoughts, not only on the figure, but how do you feel about that discussion? We might as well get into it now. The discussion of this character's kind of useless. Why make a figure of it? Because, you know, there's a lot to that. You know, there's a lot more than just, you know, why did they make this figure? So Mike, share with us your thoughts on this figure. And then the question I posed to you, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's nothing strange to the world of collecting, especially Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars started it all, right? We wanted the Bib Fortunas, Gamorrean guards. I mean, Star Wars is filled with countless characters that, as a kid or even now as an adult, you're just drawn to how they look. You're drawn to the design. I mean, even Boba Fett. Boba Fett's first appearance was during a march, like a promo parade that they had, if you guys know that story. And everyone went nuts for this character. And we knew even less. We knew nothing about him other than we're drawn to these designs. This one doesn't date back to the Ralph McQuarrie era or anything like that. But, man, it's certainly in a tradition of cool designs in Star Wars. And so for me, just having him in the display, the look of this character with Vader or, Inquisitor display, there's just so much you can do with him. And I get it. He like just kind of disappeared into dust. But, for every collector, there's an outlook on collecting. Okay. Yeah. So for me, I decided that I wanted to go all in on this particular line. So, and that's fun for me right now to do. So he's definitely coming home for me. But does that make sense what I'm saying? Like you're drawn to the design. It doesn't have to have a huge backstory. If that makes me a mindless consumer, well, then I guess it just makes me the 40 years tradition of collecting Star Wars stuff is often about just the look of the character.
Yeah, and Beskar Kid, he's making a joke here, but there's some truth behind it, right? Like, guys, we've been obsessed as collectors, Star Wars collectors in particular. We've been obsessed with Boba Fett ever since his first appearance. And let's be real, what did he do in the original trilogy? Not much, but he looked cool. He looked cool while he was doing it. And we fell in love with the character. So, that can be said for a lot of characters, Mike. A lot of characters in Star Wars, unfortunately, they don't get the limelight they deserve. And there are some collectors that don't even collect troopers because they're like, I don't care about some random trooper in the Imperial Army or the clones. Like, a lot of people don't care about that stuff. But for me and probably for you as well, these background characters are what make this universe diverse and make it exciting. And I get it. If you're on a limited budget, named characters that are more important, of course you're going to prioritize those. Most people are going to. But especially if you're going in online, or if you have like a vision, like I mentioned earlier with the Ahsoka baddies and the Kenobi baddies, this figure can fit right in. And especially those of us that have been dreaming for Rebels figures for all this time, to have characters like this to throw in there to kind of fill in that display and look really cool. Like, this is just a badass looking character. Let's be real. Like, aside from anything he's done in the show, he's a badass looking character, and he's got a really cool backstory, a creation of the Night Sisters. So it's really cool to me. And I'm glad to see that other people can see that,
Yeah. And you touched on something else that I was thinking about too. It's that, you could just say, hey, I want them to focus on like Vader and Luke and all these other characters. And there's always going to be new collectors coming in that want those primary characters. And that's totally fair. And I'm not saying that, you have to buy this figure. I'm definitely not an influencer. I'm just explaining my personal outlook on it. When you saw that lineup in Empire as a kid of those bounty hunters, I mean, you wanted a little Bosk on your...
All of them, dude. You wanted all of them.
Bosk,
IG, yeah.
Yeah, so that touches on that kind of the feeling for me when I see this figure. And I want to be able to pepper my collection with some background characters because I'm lucky enough to be able to have acquired the main character. So I like the secondary and tertiary opportunities that Sideshow's giving us.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And like I said, the biggest thing with these backup characters is like just kind of filling in that universe. And again, I understand, like, especially if you're on a tighter budget, these figures to you, you're like, no way. That totally makes sense to me. I get it. But again, I like what you said about that, Mike. Like when we saw that original lineup in Empire Strikes Back with Zuckuss, IG, Bosk, like it has that same, that same feeling when we saw Baylan, Shin, obviously on different levels. I know a lot of original trilogy purists are like, how dare you? But you get what we're saying, there's different levels to things, but the same concept applies, But yeah, there's definitely a lot of minor characters in a lot of these shows too. And often a lot of them do get passed up. And some of them people actually want. I'm sure you guys remember everybody was campaigning for Frog Lady from The Mandalorian, and that never happened. So it is, of course, very interesting. And as I say that, the Hot Toys Nightmare is here. He just made his appearance. Gee, Sean, are you in a bathroom? You look like you're in like a truck stop, like public restroom.
Yeah, he's in the steam room. The steam room.
Yeah, sauna. He's in a sauna right now.
Yeah, dude. Everywhere I go, I have display cabinets. They just follow me. Right now, I'm on the toilet.
That's okay. As long as we can't see the lower half, I'm cool with it. It's fine.
Oh, I
Or
can
any
make that
nose.
happen, dude.
Please,
it's all
please,
good, dude. We
right.
can make it happen. Here we go.
Yeah, look, everybody cover your eyes. Cover your eyes. Thanks for being here, Sean. I very much appreciate it.
Hey, can we give him an award for like the most streamed places or whatever?
Right.
Like
Steve,
hospital.
you may not know this. I don't know if you're watching this then, but Sean once did stream from a hospital bed, like literally in the hospital bed. So I don't think anyone
not laugh at that one. But...
No, you could laugh because it was funny.
Can.
It was very funny. And
That's wild.
You know, Sean makes us all look bad. Like when we're like, oh, I got something that came up, I have to cancel the stream. But now we're reminded that Sean actually streamed from his hospital bed. So
that's awesome.
Oh, Ty says that his TV has smell-o-vision. So Sean, take it easy on Ty. But Steve, I want to jump to you, man. I want to hear your thoughts and kind of same questions for you. What are your thoughts on this figure as a whole, but also the conversation about this being a side character that kind of was underutilized and people are like, maybe Hot Toys shouldn't have made this figure. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I think the figure looks awesome. It is like they nailed it for sure. It's a really, really cool character design. I think the main issue for a lot of people is when you're spending this kind of money, like really cool doesn't cut it for a lot of people. Like it can look really cool, but if it doesn't, for a lot of people, it's just the thing is going to be if the character doesn't really have a backstory, you don't really have a strong connection to the character, it's probably not going to make the cut, unfortunately. I'm like, it's tough because I'm primarily a Star Wars collector. I've been venturing out a little bit though. I'm branching out, getting some other stuff this year. But all the other Ahsoka stuff, like I'm going to get everything else from the line. I don't know if I'm going to pick this figure up immediately, like right when it releases. But I will say if Balin and Shin drop, then I'll probably, like if they announce Balin and Shin, then I'll probably change my mind on getting this one sooner rather than later. But I think that's like kind of where I'm at as far as it's just hard because there's so much stuff coming out. There's so much stuff coming out. You know, I've been telling people I keep pretty strong track of like all my stuff in a spreadsheet and like I'm basically capped already for 2024 because of all the stuff that's coming out. You know, it's so crazy. So at some point something has to wait. Like, and unfortunately for me, like this is probably going to be one that has to wait. With that being said, like I think it's a phenomenal figure. It looks so cool. It's going to look really cool next to all these other characters. If Balin and Shin come, it's gonna be really hard for me to knock him. Like this just looks so badass, man. It's just I always say too, you know, it's always nice when we get things outside of human characters in Star Wars. When we get these more unique characters, Inquisitors included. You know, I've been saying too, you know, like we gotta just Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, like give us more.
Don't get me started.
Give us more Inquisitors, like give us those types of characters because I think it really like rounds out your collection really nicely when you get characters like this that are unique in a sense versus some of these other some of these other like human characters that that we get all the time. Beskar Kid made like a really good point. Boba Fett is one of these same types of characters that really didn't have was kind of mysterious. We don't really know much about him. Another thing would be like I hope we learn more about this character just in general.
I agree.
I hope we get some more backstory. I hope we get some more stuff just about this character in general because I think like it's really badass. If it's something with Night Sister magic, which I know like with the green dust and stuff, it seems like
that's like the top. Yeah, guys, that is a theory. I should have said that is a theory, but
it seems like that's it. But like we know he's an Inquisitor, so it's just like there's that mysterious element that I think kind of draws me to the character as well. I was hoping he was going to be something way bigger. There were so many theories floating around,
right? Like a grand reveal under that helmet.
Yeah, we're talking about like Star Killer being a potential like canonized, and like just these kind of that would have been really awesome if they did like something like that. He just got
dusted, like
instead he just got dusted. So it's that's like I feel like is like man, this kind of like. It's not a make or break for me. It's like I was fine with what happened to the character. It was just like there were
that's okay.
There were so many theories floating around, but overall, like I think it looks awesome. They really nailed the character. The one thing I'll say is I think I'm like the price to me is a little bit interesting because I think Thrawn is cheaper than this figure.
Yeah, I think Thrawn was 260. This guy's 265.
That's like kind of interesting that like with a full-on like sculpted head, that this figure with just armor that they're printing is is more expensive. I don't know if there's something where they have to
wonder maybe
retool it
because of the
differently.
weathering process that they have to go through for this guy, because obviously it's pretty substantial. I don't know, but yeah, it is interesting because also they're paying licensing for a likeness on that one, so that's definitely very interesting.
Yeah, so like that's a little like that seems a little like that's interesting to me that it's a little bit like it's overpriced or higher price than Thrawn, but yeah, we'll see. Like this is probably it's really tough for me when I get into Star Wars because I want everything. And Ahsoka, like I was really high on the show. I love the show. I loved all the characters, and there's not really a ton. There aren't a ton of characters in the first season. Like they've gotten through the majority of them. You know, we have Huyang, Shin, Balin. We have Enoch, and then we have this like the Night Troopers. There's really not much left for them to cover, honestly. Like if they wanted to, they could go all in on all these characters. Even like the Night Sisters, if they did a Night Sister, that would be really cool.
That would be a dream.
So those types of figures, like those, like those types of characters for a Star Wars collection, to me, like really elevate the Star Wars collection. When you get characters like that are really unique, stuff that we don't see all the time within Star Wars.
Do you think it's possible that we get like 3 banger head sculpts from them so far at very reasonable prices? Do you think that without these other characters, those would have been $300 figures, and instead they're just flattening it out by charging you a little more for Marrok, a little more for?
It could be.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what would be really interesting, guys, when we talk about this pricing? If they do a Captain Enoch or if they do the Death Trooper, are we going to see like $220 prices, or Captain Enoch, because he's named, is he going to be like in that like 250 range like Captain Vaughn was? Like we don't know, but yeah. And I think Steve brings up a great point. Why is this one more expensive than Thrawn? Again, my guess is maybe the weathering techniques used on it. It takes up a bit more time in the manufacturing. I don't know, but it's very interesting. And you would sabers. The USB lightsabers, that definitely adds a factor.
I think it has something to do with like probably the weathering, and like it's a whole new. This is creating a whole new character design, right? As opposed to what they've already been doing with troopers. Troopers, they can reuse a lot of parts and stuff like that. So that is a little bit different. The cape is different. Like there's different stuff. But Enoch was going to be like Enoch's helmet seems like it's more challenging to do than like this type of helmet.
Because it's got like a face. That's like a second
like
aspect
sculpted
to it.
helmet. Yeah. So but yeah, I don't mind the side character thing. I would honestly I hope Hot Toys just goes all in on this line and continues to just. I would rather be able to pick from everything than to only get minimal from the show. I hope they just keep going because I love the show, and this figure I will probably eventually pick up. I just don't know if I will get it right away, just because, like I said, I'm almost capped for 2024, and that's like a budget thing, and that's just how I'm collecting stuff. So I just have to be careful in that sense. If I could get him right away, if I can find a way to get him right away, I probably will. If it's like at the time, but I can't pre-order this figure right now with every other pre-order that I already have. It's just can't happen, but I will probably end up picking this figure up at some point.
Yeah, and dude, like you said, sometimes what it takes is something else being dangled in front of your face. It becomes a companion piece. A perfect example, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I don't need the Advanced Suit 2.0 Spider-Man. I don't need that Miles Morales." And then Hot Toys is like, "Surprise! Here's a 20-inch tall Venom, and here's pictures of them all together." And then, after that, everybody's like, well, I wish I would have pre-ordered those figures. So that happens very often. And it's understandable because, companion pieces, they really make a display. So for a lot of people, they're like, I'm going to hold off and see if they announce something else for this line that would go with it. Because, perfect example, too, the Guardians, we haven't still seen the full lineup of Guardians. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, all right, Hot Toys any day now, So it definitely makes a lot of sense to wait, especially if you have a certain vision in mind and you want to see Balin, you want to see Shin. It definitely makes sense to wait on this one for sure if you're kind of on the fence. So,
but also I always think about Commander Fox, right? Because that dropped and it's like, a lot of people were like, who even is this guy? Who wants
it's the phase 1 version too.
And it's the phase 1. It's like not even the version that you might have wanted. And he's been waitlisted for quite some time. So I think that's showing us, but yet the Emperor is not. And the Emperor got more orders than Fox did.
Yeah.
So a character like Marrok.
I
You
will
don't think
say
that-
this. I will say this though.
Maybe
I
not.
think
Yeah, maybe
there's
not.
probably a lot of closet orderers for that Fox. There probably was because sometimes we show our distaste for figures, but at the end of the day, that's such like a sought after character. It's like a lot of us are probably like, I'll take the phase one. It's not what I wanted. I was from the get go. I was like, I'm gonna get this figure, but I'm a little upset that I can't put the phase 2 version with my phase 2 Coruscant guard. So,
Absolutely.
that was probably one of those that a lot of people like closet bought because they're like, damn it, Hot Toys, but it's such a sought after character. Yeah, that one was very interesting, but it is what it is. But
And I think the big thing with Box though is that you can customize it. It's a different phase one helmet.
yeah,
That's true.
And I think that's why people were buying a lot of it. I only ordered 2 of them, but I know there's
only 2. Yeah.
I only ordered 2, but I do know people that bought 6.
And also because the clones had been sold out for a while, so people used probably him as the opportunity to get their hands on, on a clone trooper.
Yeah, potentially, what they may do with that Fox is modify it into standard phase 1 troopers to match with the Fox. There's a lot of really talented like clone customizers out there in the 1.6 game, 3.75. Like there's a lot of love for the clones. You guys be surprised how much stuff is out there, like custom stuff. I want to touch on a couple comments. We'll move on. Let's see. Action the Box says, what I love about this figure is that he has has the appearance of a medieval warrior from space. Yeah, like I said, this is very much like knight inspired armor. Often, a lot of these movies, Star Wars, all these different franchises, they take inspiration from stuff from history. So you can definitely see that here. And again, we mentioned earlier with this character, it kind of adds to the mystery of this character. And there wasn't a huge payoff. I was with Steve. I was hoping for a big reveal. Like, all right, when's he going to take this helmet off? Or when is Ahsoka going to knock that shit off his head and we'll find out who he is? And, we didn't get that. But I do agree. I would like to see some more backstory on him, apart from like the assumptions that we've made based on what we saw. Because, maybe they'll kind of cue us in as to what happened to him prior and how he got to where he was, on his journey with Balin and Shin. So that would be really cool. I'm definitely interested to see more about it. It almost gave me like Darth Nihilus vibes when he kind of disappeared into thin air. Because if you guys know Darth Nihilus, his body was completely taken over and he's just all souls in there. So kind of had that vibe to me, obviously on a much smaller scale, but I thought it was interesting for sure. MB Dyson, good to see you. MB Dyson says, killed off a side character. Yes. Andor from Andor. No. Hawkeye from Hawkeye. No. Okay. Shazam, dude. That's like a Hail Mary and a dream at this point. But yeah, the Andor thing is puzzling to me. I'm really upset about that. I hate to say it, but I think Sean is right on this one. At this point, we might be waiting for the second season. And it's a shame because Andor actually got merchandised a lot in other scales. 3.75 Black Series 6-inch stuff. It got merchandised a lot. Funkos, they did all of the side characters and everything. So I was like, sweet, we're gonna get it. Nope. Same thing with Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. That stuff got merchandised in other scales, and then 6 scale, like,
crazy.
Dude, seriously, we get a scout trooper with a shield. Like, it's a cool figure, but that's it. That's all you could come up with. Like, I feel like what happened with Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, excuse me, at the time, I think there was just so much going on, they just couldn't fit that stuff in. And as weird as Hot Toys is right now, there's certainly a possibility that they'll go back and revisit that stuff. And I've been saying about the Return of the Jedi. Maybe they'll go back, give us some more stuff, but just not under the 40th name because they're going to miss their time window on that. And we saw it with Bespin Luke. That one came after the 40th stuff. So I think at the time, Hot Toys was just trying to keep up with so many licenses at one time, and they kind of had to pick and choose. And unfortunately, the TV shows come last very often, at least with Star Wars, it seems. But right now, that's why it's really exciting because the Ahsoka show is getting so much love. But yeah, great thoughts, Steve, by the way, and definitely some very thought-provoking stuff. Chris, I want to move on to you. We kind of had a brief discussion this morning about this, or this afternoon, I should say, about this figure. But while you're sharing your thoughts, I do want to jump over. I do have some secret base photos, courtesy of MRC. We very much appreciate MRC, as always, for getting these early photos from secret base. But Chris, what are your thoughts on this figure? And feel free to touch on the whole side character discussion as well as you're sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, man, I think everybody made good points. Basically touched on a lot of the stuff that I was going to say as well. I kind of agree with Steve as far as like the theory. I feel it would have been cool to see him be more than what he was and just killed off as a side character. also feel like if it were Starkiller or somebody of that nature, like to see Vader's apprentice versus Anakin's apprentice, that would have just been mind blowing in of itself. But other than that, I like the way this figure looks. Like Steve also mentioned, with bringing characters out besides like human looking, if that makes sense, doing the droids or alien creatures. I think this really nice way to make the shelf pop even more. And seeing this photo, you can really see all the added detail in that. Is insane. But I kind of also get, not just like, because people are saying Knights, it wants me to say like Knights of Ren, but I got a Kylo Ren vibe with all the black, and especially the lightsaber. The cape being removable is kind of cool. Wonder if that'll be posable or if it'll just be like a standard drape cape. But
it looks to be a drape cape because it's just so thin here on the edge. But
yeah, and even that's weathered. You can see in that photo. So
yeah,
there's a lot that went into this. But yeah, all around looks like a great figure. And I told you, because of having like Reva and the Grand Inquisitor Vader, like I feel like it would be too much of like a red lightsaber, because I do have the DTOFs. I don't want to cram it too much.
That's fair.
I also want to hold out for Shin and Balin if they do those. And yeah, so this guy's like a maybe. He's like on the back burner. He's there. He's cool, but it's like not.
So you're kind of with Steve. Then you guys are kind of like holding off, see what happens. And again, once again, like with Balin and Shin, that's probably going to open up a lot of doors for a lot of people with this figure, because a lot of people are probably like, oh, now I need all three of them, because these guys did roll together in the show. So definitely a good point. But again, it makes sense. It makes sense, especially if you're like, I don't care to include it with any other figures. Then you're gonna wait for the companion pieces.
Right.
I wanted to pull this comment back up. Peyton says the rest of the Attack of the Clones line dropped in December last year, I believe, and I still have a little hope for Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible once again that Hot Toys just had so much on their plate that they kind of had to push some stuff to the side. It was a little puzzling at first why they just kind of gave us the biggest banger up front, Vader, but it makes sense now, right? Because they haven't announced any other stuff, but certainly it can happen. We've seen some pretty late. I mean, hell, we just got the Feral Predator, and that movie came out 2 years ago, Prey. So you never know what they're working on behind the scenes. I'm definitely, you guys know I'm down for it. Any Return of the Jedi stuff, I'm gonna scoop up like no tomorrow. But I'm along for the ride. We'll see what happens, but I definitely still have some hope that they're gonna do some more stuff there. Sean, are you still here? I saw you turned off your camera. I don't know if you're still there. If not,
no, I'm still here.
Okay, you're here. Okay.
So this is my daughter's Chromebook that I'm using, just because the one that I usually use is not here. And the camera is really bad, and I had a light on me, and the problem is it was like going straight in my eyes. I started to get a headache from it.
Oh, that's
so
okay.
I had to turn the camera off, and so you guys wouldn't be able to see me.
That's okay. But Sean, we'll jump to you. I just want to hear your thoughts on this, and then I'm gonna pose some questions to the panel, and we're gonna take a look at that little tease that we got with the announcement of this figure. But yeah, Sean,
and those of us with smell-o-vision. Those of us with smell-o-vision are still getting the vibe, so you're good.
Right. We're not too let down by the no camera, because we got a little bit left from you, Sean. But Sean, go ahead. What are your thoughts on this figure?
Well, as all of you love to hear and possibly see, we have here a 1/6 scale figure by Hot Toys demonstrated to all of you. And my friend Mike Clitoris laughing in the background as he sees this figure.
Mike Licorice, dude. He's a new man. He's a new man. It's Mike Licorice.
That's right. I'm a stand-up citizen.
You may have Mike Licorice, but I have Mike Clitoris.
And you always will, my friend. You always will.
Oh yeah.
Who let him in here? Who let this guy in here, guys?
You actually sent me the invite.
I know. That's a
dude. No wonder it was steaming over there. He's ready to go.
I know.
Anyways, paint job, really excellent. I like the rust look. Everything else, I do think it's more expensive just because of the USB option on there. But I can't remember who said it, but I agree with them too. It seems like anytime there's a real new mold coming out, the price for that figure does come up a little bit. Regarding the show, though, for some reason, I don't think we're like done seeing this individual. Like when can I do a spoiler alert?
I mean,
the show?
I think at this point, everybody's seen it that's wanted to see it. So you're free to say whatever about the show. We kind of already did in the beginning of the stream. So go ahead. Whatever you want to say.
So when he died, I didn't think he was completely dead.
You think his mist like floated off into some Night Sister's jar?
And we're gonna see him
she was in the woods somewhere, and she's just like shut the jar and caught his mist. I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff in Star Wars, you know.
Yeah.
Emperor Palpatine fell into a giant shaft and lived to tell the tale, so you never know. Steve's like rubbing his eyes.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Yeah, but I think what's going on also is like with Hot Toys itself. You know, it could be a lot of things why we haven't seen the white Ahsoka first. And it could be they never really got the design of her outfit or anything until towards the end of the show was coming out. So, you know, they got access to all the material and all the uniforms and costumes and everything for the show, except for her final one, because they didn't want it to come out. And that might be why we're waiting.
Yeah.
You know, and then, but itself, you know, my concern is, okay, so it's not a double jointed elbow for this figure either. It's single jointed. That's kind of annoying me. Because I wish they would figure out a way to fix that. Yeah, there's no pics that show any position or anything where it's a double jointed elbow.
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen anything from the photos that would tell me it's single jointed. Personally, I mean, maybe you saw something that I didn't see. But me personally, I don't know if I would come out and say personally that's single. I don't know. I feel like it should be double jointed because he's got clothing on and stuff. So there's no reason for them to use like a single jointed arm where it's less, you know, more seamless looking. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it, especially with the female figures. They often get screwed on that, you know, like Bo-Katan and Casca Reeves. They had single jointed arms. So would not be surprised.
I just don't see any images here where it is a double jointed, and I could be wrong and I could have missed that picture. But I've been noticing, like for me, that's what I'm looking for is like, okay, the realm of articulation on figures lately.
Yeah.
So, because I'm kind of getting annoyed, like with technology and everything right now, why do we still get a single jointed Winter Soldier left arm? They should be able to make that double jointed.
Yeah, that one's interesting, right? And again, like often when Hot Toys is trying to like more like preserve the look, if that makes any sense, that's why they go with the single jointed arm, because you know that joint is much tighter together. It doesn't have to have that double rocker joint on the elbow. So I mean, I think that's why they do that with an arm. Would I have a solution for that personally in terms of engineering? I have no idea how they could improve that, because it's I feel like maybe with the technology in that in terms of the Winter Soldier, they're just still a bit limited with what they can do. But I feel like that one doesn't bother me as much just because it blends in a little better. This one with like a full cloth suit and stuff, if this ended up being single jointed arms, I'd be pretty puzzled by that, because it just doesn't make sense. You know, there's no reason to give him single jointed arms. But I guess we'll find out, right? When it comes time for the figure to release. But yeah, again, I haven't seen any photos personally where it looks like he has single jointed arms, but maybe if I go back and look at them, and maybe that's what we'll do. Let me pull the main photos up and let's see if we can.
If I'm wrong, you know, feel free to let me know I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong. I hope so. Let me see. Is there any post? I don't know, Sean. That looks a little bit past 90. I mean, tight. Yeah, that looks a little bit past 90 there, but it's definitely like that one. No, that's definitely double jointed right there. Look how close. I mean, obviously it's a bit of an optical illusion, but I think it's that. I do agree though, Sean. They didn't do a lot of photos that kind of convinced us that they are double jointed arms here. But yeah, that one convinces me right there. Okay, well that's good to know. But Sean, we might as well jump to this since I pulled these photos back up. Snap. So guys, for those of you guys that didn't catch this, or you know, you haven't been on Facebook and stuff the past day, they did tease Ahsoka the White, and obviously we kind of knew that Ahsoka the White was coming, because Sideshow, you know, they had the coming
Yes, just we have now Ahsoka Mike.
So guys, I told Mike, I was like, dude, one of these days, I'm just, I'm like paranoid now that one of these days you're gonna show up with some more props. If you guys don't remember,
What are you
one
talking
day.
about?
Oh yeah,
my hat was getting itchy, so I just took my hat off.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the problem here.
You know what?
Why am I on the full screen?
This doesn't remind me of Ahsoka. It reminds me of those little hats that those girls wore in the Fifth Element when they're on that craft about to go for like the whole opera and everything else. It's like I'm waiting now for Mike to stand up, and he's wearing like a short little purple skirt or something.
How did you know?
I don't know why Mike does this to me, because he did it the last time. He had the Joker wig on, and I didn't. I'm sitting here in my zone talking about the figures, and I literally didn't notice. And then, the same thing just happened here. Yeah, guys, hashtag Ahsoka the Mike. Oh my Lord. I don't
Dude,
even
that should be
stuff,
should seriously be your new name. Ahsoka the Mike.
I like it.
He's got to wear out Mike Licorice for a little bit, and then he can switch to Ahsoka the Mike. Dude, that's funny. But yeah, guys, for the I can't even focus now. I can't take him seriously, dude. The corner of my eye.
It's disrespect to look at a man's Leku, don't you know?
I know.
That?
I need to stop. I know, right? Cover your Leku, dude. But
Mike, just start singing all night long.
I guess that's fitting, right? Some Lionel
Streams
Richie.
derailing.
Yeah, it's derailing. But back to what we were talking about. Guys, we did get a tease for Ahsoka the White, and like I mentioned, Sideshow did put up a post on the Coming Soon page saying that we were going to see Ahsoka the White eventually, and sometimes it doesn't come true, but sometimes it does. I think this time it is coming true. And look what we have in here. Jedi's Night Watch is here. He says, "What's up, Hot Toys Hotline and panel? Wolfpack invading. What's up, bro? Good to see you here as always, man. I know. I think you and Steve are boys, so I'm sure it's cool to see him hanging out with all of us. Thanks so much for popping in, dude. I appreciate it. Everybody likes the Ahsoka the Mike. Mike, you're cracking up everybody tonight. I literally just told Mike, I think it was last stream. I'm like, I'm just waiting for the day that you bust out another prop, and I guess he took that and ran with it. But
I couldn't let you down, man.
I know you. Well, you certainly didn't, and I'm glad that the chat likes it too. But guys, what I wanted to point out about this, and if you haven't compared the photos yet, the Leku is longer on this prototype here that we see the back of Ahsoka the White. So it's much more of a tease than just seeing that white garment, right? We're actually seeing a altered head sculpt to make it more accurate for the Ahsoka show. So I know a lot of us are going to be really excited for this one. You guys know in Rebels, Ahsoka had that really long, mature look with the longer Leku, and it looked really badass. So this is really exciting to me. We're finally getting the look with the longer Leku. So this is really cool. And I do actually have a movie still for those of you who maybe haven't seen the show yet and you're curious of what Ahsoka we're talking about. This is this gorgeous, gorgeous outfit. And me personally, I love that original outfit that we saw from Ahsoka when she was introduced, obviously, in The Mandalorian. But I think this one's better. I think it's better. I just think this is very, very much Jedi-esque. I think this is kind of like that turning point. This is that outfit that says, I'm back in the game. I'm back, baby. I'm back in the swing of the things with the Jedi. So I think this is really cool. I think it's a gorgeous outfit. And if there was another reason to give us another figure of the same character, I think this is one of them. Because again, we get longer Leku, we get basically a completely different outfit, and this outfit obviously comes with a story. So my next question for you guys is, when do we think this one's coming out? Do you think this is the next thing from Hot Toys for the Star Wars line in general? And who's picking this one up? I could tell you, for me, the moment I saw this in the show, this happens a lot, right? We're watching these shows, and as a Hot Toys collector, you're like, oh, that's a Hot Toy I want. Oh, that's a Hot Toy I want. And this is, out of most of the figures that were potential for this show, this was like the top on my list, just because I think it's such a beautiful outfit. And again, it's that we often talk about moments, right? With these figures, they're moments. Mando, Luke, a lot of people are like, why would I want that when I Return of the Jedi? It's the moments, right? So for this one, it's a very big turning point for the character. And if you're a fan of the Clone Wars, this is very much full circle, for the trials and tribulations that Ahsoka experienced, being basically, thrown to the side by the Jedi Order. And she kind of had to come back and say, nah, I'm not coming back. Y'all just tossed me to the side, and I didn't even do anything wrong. So this is very much a huge turning point for the character. So just based on that alone, I'd be interested in this. And then the fact that this outfit is so beautifully executed, I'm all in for it. But same for everybody in the chat. And guys, this is just an open discussion, so feel free to jump in. But But who would pick this one up if Hot Toys did it? I know we've had a couple of Ahsoka figures from Hot Toys, but who's grabbing this one? I think it seems like a lot of us are really excited about this Ahsoka line. Mike, I think we have to hear a little bit more from you. You've changed your name now. You got your Leica on. Like tell us about Ahsoka the White, dude. How hyped are you for this one?
Yeah, dude, I'm super hyped. So I took a risk, I guess, because I passed on the original Ahsoka because I knew the show was coming and I figured we'd get something. And then she shows up in the show in the same outfit. And then her next outfit change was the spacesuit. And I was like, oh no, please. I'll just go back and get the Mando one. Yeah, because I just wasn't feeling that look. So so happy that they have this design for her. And that looks like this is coming out. What would really be cool is if like maybe even as a sideshow exclusive, if they give her the staff, because Hot Toys has been known to do that, right? The Cad Bane, he came with the Toto that wasn't in the show, but from animation. So that would be a nice little touch if they did something like that. Not that you couldn't make your own, but I'm really excited for this, not just because of the outfit, but because one of the reasons I held off, I never liked the original Leku design from Mando. I didn't like the design or the color. And they actually fixed the color. It's less washed out, faded. So I like the color better. I like the design better. Even the headpiece here is pretty cool looking. Yeah, it's a lot bluer. So I'm all over. Dude, I already pre-ordered Marrok. So
there's a lot they could update with her too, like the face, USB lightsabers on this one this time. Yeah, body.
Right, because they don't
all
need
the issues people had with that other
arm.
one. We can't forget that a lot of people had those joints breaking on them at the elbow because the way that they designed it, where it was half seamless. Let's hope that they go back to the drawing board on that and say, that was a good idea, but not well executed.
I mean, they could even do it done well. Because she has the sleeves there, I guess that would opt for that.
Dude, honestly, I think we would all be fine with a sculpted plastic orange arm. That it being the rubber material doesn't, make it any better for me.
I guess.
Right. I think because regardless, you're going to have somewhat of a seam if they don't go the silicone route, but I think it would look fine, especially if you have her with the cloak. But I get it. Like there's a trade-off. Some collectors want more realism. Some collectors are like, I'd rather have it more posable. So it's kind of, you got to have to meet in the middle somewhere. Personally, if she comes with this, I won't be super upset. I mean, even if you have the arm extended like this, you're not hurting that silicone at all. So if they can expand on that kind of half seamless design and make that joint stronger, I think I'd be fine with that. I personally didn't have any issues with mine, but thankfully other collectors are like, shit, I broke mine. And I'm like, cool, I'm not going to break mine. So what I did with mine, and I know a lot of other collectors were doing it, I was kind of like rocking it softly back and forth to loosen the joint a little bit. And that definitely helped a lot. But I definitely appreciate other collectors sharing their pain with us. And if it hadn't happened to you yet, then you have that chance to learn from their mistake, which is, not really their mistake because it's Hot Toys design. But Beskar says that he needs the spacesuit. So Mike's talking about that spacesuit. And Beskar, I think it's kind of cool. Imagine if we got those Guardians with the spacesuits and you kind of put them all together with the Stanley and you just kind of like a spacesuit army. That'd be pretty cool.
Let me try something here real quick.
Sense much fear in you.
Can you hear that?
Oh, we can hear it.
An energy field created by all living things.
Anyway, my new toy.
It makes sounds too. Like, where do you find this stuff, man? I've never seen that ever. Jedi Night's Watch. I was freaking say his name wrong. He says, HGH, I love seeing that Hawk late to the party, but I just got mine and the thing is a work of art. Love it. Dude, yeah, I just saw that you got it and I know you were after that one for a bit. The funny thing about this, I feel like in photos, the color is like, it doesn't look great. It looks outdated. And then,
Agreed.
When you get it in person, you're like, dude, this looks like a newer figure. Like they did a great job on this. Like I ended up getting two of them. I got one through a trade and I bought one. And then, I convinced Chris, I was like, dude, I'll give this to you for a really good deal. And Chris was like, this is the Hulk that I want. Should I buy it? I'm like, yes, you should buy it. And Chris bought it. And dude, he's like, this is one of my favorite figures in my entire collection. So that's why I've got my buddy Hulk sitting here with me. Cause I think he's so dope. And I can't take him off of my desk right now. Cause I just love having him next to me, dude. It's like, he's got that presence. And anytime Sean pisses me off, I got somebody to threaten him with because he's sitting right here. No, of course I'm just joking. But
I literally just got, so I actually went to Graham's last weekend, and I just got Hulk today. He's right here. You can see him in the back.
The Avengers one, is that the one you picked up?
Yeah, I got the Avengers one, like with the ripped pants and stuff. Yeah, the OG
That's
Avengers
the Hulk
one
right there, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
a
Hulk,
bad.
dude, the
When I
ripped
saw it in
pants.
person at his house, I
Hulk
was like,
fam.
damn, this is so. It's one of the best figures I've seen.
Well, so-
it's so cool. So then I
So I
bought
have
one.
to tell you guys, I don't know if you guys know the Shirt Brothers meme. Hey, Shirt Brother, from I Think You Should Leave, but I always call Chris, hey, Hulk Brother. So now you guys are Hulk Brothers. We're all Hulk Brothers now.
Hulk
Specifically,
brothers.
guys, you have to have the
Unite.
2012 Avengers Hulk to be a Hulk brother. So, but yeah, this is a really dope figure. And once again, Chris and I actually have the 2-pack with Banner, and the Banner
nice.
figure is really nice too for the age. I was very surprised. But yeah,
The regional premium too. It's got the Chitauri base.
yeah, the
and those,
Chitauri base and everything. It's dope, man.
That's cool.
Beskar says 0 issues with either of mine. Yeah, like I said, I was able to, take advantage of other people. And I know Beskar, you got yours very early because you're always like really early with this stuff because you do those dope reviews. Guys, as always, check out Beskar Kid. I'm always pimping him out on streams, but check out, I know he's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. But yeah, you're always doing those early reviews. And I know, I remember I saw you post somewhere you didn't have issues with yours. So, but I'm definitely thankful for those that did have issues and they were able to share it with everybody. Cause again, that kind of gave us a heads up of like, hey, some people are having issues. Be careful. Kind of like the DeLorean, with that original disaster of the DeLorean. A lot of people are like, oh, my shit broke. And I'm like, sweet. Hopefully mine doesn't break. But yeah, Peyton says 10 times better. Yeah. We don't talk about Smart Hawk, dude. That's why that figure is still sitting. We don't talk about Smart Hawk. But yeah, guys, I think this Ahsoka the White there's a lot of potential here for this one.
Yeah. Can I speak to this real quick, Connor? I just want to kind of give my thoughts real quick on Ahsoka. So yeah, I didn't really have issues with mine like Mandalorian one either. I was really careful with the elbows and did the same thing you talked about, just like working the joint really easily, making sure that they didn't snap. And I know there was also like a video or something online where you could actually like take them off and like if you warmed up the joint a little bit, you can really loosen it up and then you don't have any problems. But yeah, I didn't have any issues with mine. The one thing I'll say about this figure is, well, you guys kind of touch on like just the importance of this moment. And I think like I get pretty nerdy over this stuff, like in the Star Wars universe. This is like a really pivotal moment for her character. Like after everything that happened to her, like if you haven't seen, I always tell people, if you haven't seen the animated stuff, it's so worth watching. Like Ahsoka has one of the best arcs in all of Star Wars, honestly. She's Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, so like there's going to be good stuff there if you don't really know much about it. I think one thing that I would really like to see, and it'll be interesting to see if Hot Toys does it, because we know Hot Toys likes to reuse stuff. Are they going to reuse the head sculpt? This is the perfect opportunity to capture the moment of her character being redeemed and do like what I would personally love to see with this figure is like do like a light smirk head sculpt or something to
swap out faceplates, maybe.
Yeah, like do something with like to show that she actually is like, because what did everybody say before this moment, right? They all said like she's too stoic, she doesn't show any emotion, she's closed off, right? The original or the Mandalorian one that we got is kind of like that straight face look. Give us a new head sculpt that kind of like represents the moment of like the change in tone of her character. I think that'd be really smart for them to give us something where she has a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a smirk. If they did like a smile head sculpt, I think that would just be like an incredible look for this character. I think because she does that a lot throughout the show. Just retool it a little bit and give us a representation that's like true to the character in the moment of the character. I think that would just be, I really, really, really hope they don't let us down and just give us the same head sculpt from the original one. Cause this is so different. It's such a different, like such a huge turning point for her character. So that's what I'm really, really hoping for.
Dude,
you know what would be also good? That's a good idea. I like it. But what would also be good is like a facial sculpt from when she was scared with the whole visit of Anakin's spirit and everything. Like the appearance that she has, her facial expressions, how scared she was with everything. I think that would be a good head sculpt also.
Faceplate, swappable faceplate could be so
that's what
cool.
I was saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because we know how they executed
with the Leku,
this previously. The whole Leku pulls off. So like, and Cad Bane, they went above and beyond with that figure with the swap out faceplates. It's executed well, they fit really nicely, and it's very seamless. So they certainly could do it with this one. And that would be ideal. Like me personally, if they're like, I'm going to give you guys 2 extra swap out faceplates and I'm going to charge I don't know, 285 to 315, whatever. Give us a bunch of stuff for it. I'd be down. Because again, and I totally agree, Steve. Like, I think we often forget what this character has been through. And again, the pivotal moment for this character, all of that stuff through the Clone Wars leading up to this show came down to this moment where she was finally ready to trust in the Force again and open herself back up again. And it took, her experience with Anakin and the world between worlds to realize that, not all hope is lost, and very understandably so for the character, because again, the Jedi just tossed her to the side, like didn't even give her a chance to plead her case. I would feel the same way. I'd be like, all right, well, screw y'all.
They didn't believe in her, right? She trusted
after
she trusted
all
the
she
Jedi
did,
Order
dedicated
forever.
her whole young life to them.
And they didn't trust in her word, and she got framed, and they didn't trust in her word, and
exactly. And who was the only one that stood by her side? Anakin.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Then you just get the huge
awesome.
moment with her and Anakin in that episode. Just such an incredible episode, to get the closure of everything leading up to that moment. It's just a really cool moment in the show. Obviously, one of the peak moments in the show. So you got to I just really hope they do justice to the character for the figure.
For me,
and if you're into this kind of talk, Steve has an excellent after show Ahsoka review on his channel. If you're rewatching the show or watching it for the first time, watch it along with Steve.
You may see Mike there.
I was lucky enough to be on the show with a bunch of other awesome guests. So just a little plug for Steve's work there.
Yeah, guys, if you want a bit more analysis, I'm sure you guys threw in. I haven't had a chance to watch it. Mike actually just told me, he's like, dude, I was on an episode. You definitely got to check it out. I'm like, sweet.
Mike was on all. I think Mike made all. You make all of them.
Oh, he was on all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, and you didn't have your Leiku on for the review?
I don't know if he had it at that point.
Dude, it just came out
last
week.
Fully grown.
I wish you had it. I wish you had it.
Right? That would have been perfect.
They were just nubs.
Yeah, we broke it down. We got real nerdy. We got real nerdy on that show. Like, after Ahsoka, just like breaking down every detail of the show and episode by episode. It was really fun.
It was so hard not to, because I stand by the fact I want to preface this by saying I love The Mandalorian. Season 1 especially was so important for Star Wars as a whole. I love The Mandalorian. But this show as a whole, with all of the moments, with the tremendous amount of Anakin Skywalker screen time we got, which is my favorite character in all of Star Wars, this one season of this show is the best Star Wars show for me personally. In terms of consistency, what we got through the episodes that we saw, I just loved every moment of it. I think they did a great job. I think they finally understand the pacing and stuff with this show. I think they did a great job addressing a lot of the answers that we needed answered for a long time, especially if you're fans of Rebels and the Clone Wars. And I think they picked great actors and actresses to represent these very important characters like Hera, Ezra. Like, they did a great job. Sabine. So this is definitely a line, because of how good the show is, that I'm very much like, I was like, I want to get everything. And when I say everything, I mean Captain Enoch, I mean the Death Troopers, I mean everything. I just love this show so much. And, I was captured by The Mandalorian season 1 that way, and season 2 as well. Like, I was like, I love this show. And then once I got all those figures, I'm like, all right, you guys can chill on The Mandalorian season 3. Like, I don't need anything else. And I'm glad that they kind of were more tame with that. They gave us kind of what we wanted, the Mecha Gideon and stuff. But this show, I'm like thirsting for more figures. I'm like, just please give us more, because the show is so good. And again, they're representing characters that have been needed to be represented in 6 scale for so long, because we have a bunch of characters from Star Wars Rebels that carry over in this show. And it's very, very important to a lot of us. Mike and I and Chris as well, we've gone very much in depth with the importance of these characters to us from Rebels, and how amazing it is to finally see them in 6 scale form. So, yeah, and I totally agree, Beskar. Like, just the way that they treated these characters, and the fact that they gave us like true Anakin Skywalker fan service, it was just like, I said before, my favorite, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree, my favorite, most like the biggest tear jerker out of any Star Wars episode was, of course, when Luke returned, for the first time. That music that played, the way in which he entered, the fact that he just turned all those Dark Troopers to butter like it was nothing. You're like, that's my Luke Skywalker right there. And that's what we needed. After the sequel trilogy, a lot of us, including myself, we weren't happy with how, Luke was portrayed. So we really needed that. And then now, when we needed something else like that, they delivered tenfold with the Anakin Skywalker scenes. And to see that, And as Steve and I were saying, you know, Anakin was the only one that believed in Ahsoka when the Jedi Order gave up on her. And to see that resolution, to see Anakin again, to see Anakin, you know, kind of giving his final lesson to Ahsoka, and to see those Clone Wars flashback scenes, it was just, you know, I completely understood after seeing that episode why it was showing in some movie theaters around. I'm like, dude, this alone was, you know, if I had the opportunity to see that locally, I would have done it. I totally would have done it.
It's
And
not
this show
just like
came out of
they.
go ahead.
Sorry, it's not just like they. It's also it starts with Filoni, like the apprentice. Looks like in him, like literally trust. Everything he's touched has been golden.
Gives me chills, like we were talking about you, bro.
Too.
Like I swear, the Mando Luke moment, like you started talking about it, and I just like got chills. When I see the photo, I always see like the people have the thumbnail like on their YouTube photo, like YouTube thumbnails and stuff, and like for real, like anytime I see the photo, like I get chills. It's just such a crazy, crazy thing. I'm like, damn, I just started thinking about it. It's
dude,
like, oh
I was
so awesome.
I said this on stream before. I was on vacation when that episode came out. It was like 3 a.m. I was sitting there with my phone, bawling my freaking eyes out watching that, dude, because and a lot of movies don't make me cry, or TV shows, but that, you know, Luke Skywalker was very, very like pivotal in my childhood, along with Anakin Skywalker. And just to see him return like that, it was like, you know, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau saying, we understand your frustration. Yeah. There was a lot to that scene. And not only that, it was redemption for Mark Hamill, right? Because Mark Hamill wasn't happy with how he was portrayed. He made it very clear throughout the filming of all the sequel trilogy, all the press runs and everything. So I'm sure for him, you know, because for those of you guys that don't know, he was actually on set in the costume and everything. Obviously, we had CGI and stuff like that, but it was just a really a full circle moment. And we have a lot of like characters that show a lot of strength in the show, and they're cowering behind a door for their impending doom. And then Luke Skywalker comes in and just turns them all to dust like it was nothing. Like it's just there wasn't a better way to do it, dude. And I agree, dude. Every time I think about it, it's like it brings me back to that moment. And again, the music is what really did it for me. That score, dude, right now, it's always in my head. That score,
because we've never seen that Luke. You know, we've never seen him at
that's like the Legends
like
Luke, dude. And like the stuff that we saw in Star Wars, like the Star Wars Legends stuff, like that's the power that was talked about. And when you see him walk in and just absolutely annihilate these dark troopers, and these people are cowering in the room, just waiting to die. Mando was cowering in the room, like, you know, it's just to see that, dude. And then the X-Wing entrance too. If you were a big Star Wars fan, you knew whose X-Wing that was immediately.
Yes. And that, I stood up at that moment. I was like, oh my God. And Disney did such a great job keeping that moment under wraps. And the episode did a great job.
It would have ruined it. It would have.
That was a great non-leaked moment for sure. Like, that would have sucked if that one would have leaked.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it's setting up the Dark Troopers as an unstoppable force. You know, it was
perfectly
really
done, right? Perfectly done. Like the whole scene with Mando where he like barely escaped. You know, he had to pull out that Beskar spear. Like, dude, it just set it up perfectly. And then, it was a slam dunk, dude. He just came in and he was like, "Oh, you guys got Dark Troopers, huh?"
Yeah,
and you're right. That episode came at. I mean, Mando as a whole came at the perfect time for those of us who may have been disappointed in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And then this show, I think, accidentally for Disney, came out at the perfect time for not myself, because I really enjoyed Andor, but a lot of people missed the lightsabers and missed lore and missed all of that mysticism and Force stuff. And man, you got it in spades with the show following Andor, so that was really nice too.
Andor's so good, man.
I love Andor. Don't get me wrong.
Andor is the unspoken hero. Man. I know, like Sean rides for
twice.
Andor a lot too. Like
it's amazing, man.
It's not a put down, but
give me a Kino Loy figure in the like prison outfit. That's what I would.
I wanted everything.
Give me a Kino Loy, with a prison outfit. Like that would be so cool. Man.
We never got our space AK-47s, dude. Like, come on, man.
They could have done so many cool figures from that show too. Just
You know, the part though with the whole Luke Skywalker coming in though with the Dark Troopers. Okay, Kathleen Kennedy didn't even know that.
Probably
they kicked out everyone they could, and apparently she was furious when she found out it was Mark Hamill there.
Wasn't the script Plo Koon? I think like Filoni put Plo Koon in the script.
She was aware of that.
So it's his favorite Jedi. He's like, "What's Plo Koon in the script?"
Yeah, it's so funny that he did that.
God, the fact that she would have probably axed that is just so telling of that just tells you everything you need to know about what's going on at this.
Yeah,
time.
she would have wanted to remove
That
it, and
looks
now they want to redo Star Wars all the way from the beginning. Hell no.
Yeah.
No.
Tom, I am too, dude. Don't worry. I'm upset about that one too. I wanted that a lot.
So, and on Ahsoka, the only thing that could have made this show better is if they did a live action scene of when she goes up to Commander Rex and he tells her to stay back.
Mm-hmm.
Right when Order 66 happened, and
Oh
he's
my
telling
God.
her to find fives.
I'm
Mhm.
trying to make
If that
it-
was live action, that is the only thing that would have made that entire episode better.
You had to bring up fives, dude.
You're right. You know what I think would have
There's
also
enough
helped though?
heartbreak from 66.
Well, what would have been real? Yeah, 66 is just the best though. I can't get enough of it. But what would have been really cool though is if they set up Thrawn maybe a little bit better by having a 3-minute scene of he and Ezra, just getting sucked out into the other
Right.
galaxy.
That's a good point.
If we just saw that in live action to kind of
That'd be
set
cool.
that up,
That's what
especially
I
for
was
those
kind of
who
hoping for
hadn't
too,
seen
like
Rebels.
a continuation
Yeah.
from the animated show. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
like
would have
start
been
the
cool.
start the show off with that scene of like them. getting
Exactly.
Yeah,
taken
I was
away would've been
expecting that.
cool.
Truly, I was
Yeah.
expecting that.
Yeah.
But to be fair,
Season-
at least we got to
season two
see
could do
the
that.
creatures. At
Yeah.
least like they
Yeah.
involved
The
them in the
Purgle
show.
were the
Yeah,
cinematics for the show. I always talk about the show. Like cinematically, it was just incredible. Every episode, I felt like the cinematics were just
You know what's
so.
what's
Yeah, it
funny,
didn't feel
Steve?
cheap at all.
How's it that in a TV show we get incredible CGI for the Purgle and stuff, and then you look at like the Flash and they spent so much money on
I
that
just
movie.
watched that
and-
movie finally.
Right, it's like it's like truly laughable, like that a TV show achieves such a great cinematic universe and then you look at the Flash and you're like, dude, what happened?
Dude,
So
the
yeah, it's
CW does
very
better.
impressive.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot too, because CW shows are usually very, very low budget looking. But I'm very jealous, by the way. Beskar says, consider myself fortunate to have seen every Star Wars theatrical release since 77. It wasn't a dry eye during the screening of Shadow Warrior. Dude, so you guys know, obviously I was not alive in 77 and when Empire Strikes Back came out and everything. But I've been very fortunate that, we got some re-releases in theaters and I was able to see Return of the Jedi in theaters with Chris. We did a little like bachelor party for him when he got married. And I was able to see Rogue One a second time in theaters when that came back. And there's really no better experience than experiencing these films in the theater. And I guys, and in any film really, like I saw They Live not long ago in theaters. I saw Back to the Future Part 1 a month and a half ago in theaters. And regardless of how many times you've seen it, to see it on the big screen, especially when you weren't alive to see it originally, or even if you were younger when it first came out and you did not get a chance to see it, it's a really special experience. So anytime they do those special screenings around you guys, I highly recommend it, because there's nothing like it. There really isn't. And
Yeah, it was made for the big screen. At
The
the end of
energy.
right,
The
exactly.
energy of the crowd. I've seen Alien a million times, but I saw Alien in theaters in New York City. It was like I was seeing it for the first time, and I was noticing things.
Exactly.
For the
That's very well put, dude. It was the same way with Back to the Future Part 1 when I saw that. There were people cracking up at every little dumb joke from Marty. There's every little stupid joke that happened in the Biff. Just people were just going nuts, and it's like that was amazing to me. So, guys, if you have the chance to go back and see these old movies in theaters again, because a lot of them are coming back, highly recommend it. The next thing I want to jump to, guys. And go ahead, Chris. Share your thoughts.
I was just saying while you're doing that, and I have like a Dolby Atmos and surround sound in the home, and it still doesn't compare to what you get in the movies.
No, not at all. So, guys, I kind of wanted to take this discussion elsewhere with the Ahsoka line. This is, I know it's a hot take because there's been a lot of announcements and releases from Hot Toys over the years. But, with all these figures being announced right now, we're very much in the top age of technology when it comes to figure making. And I think we're seeing that very clearly with the head sculpts on these figures, especially. So in terms of Hot Toys and like new lines for them, do you guys consider this so far? And of course, we're only talking about prototypes because these are just prototypes. But do you guys feel like this is maybe one of the strongest lines yet in terms of what they've shown us here with the quality of the likeness on the head sculpt? The pricing, the pricing I think is pretty fair across the board. It's great to see that at the very least that the Star Wars lineup is getting pretty fair pricing. Me personally, I think these are already shaping up, at least in terms of the prototype sculpts, to some of the best sculpts that Hot Toys has ever done. And I think Hot Toys is doing a great job at realizing that there's other talent out there, and they're hiring and licensing out these great standalone head sculpt makers and sculptors to do work for them. And I think it really shows, especially recently with a lot of these head sculpts. Thrawn's been fantastic. Hera's been fantastic. You know, they're just doing such a great job with these head sculpts. They're so spot on at almost every angle. I personally think if this is not the best lineup of prototypes yet from Hot Toys, it's certainly up there. So I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Me personally, I have very much confidence in saying, in terms of likenesses and the sculpts and everything like that, I think this is one of the strongest lines yet in terms of just how much they've nailed most aspects of these costume designs and everything. So feel free to jump in, guys. Again, this is just an open discussion. Chris, I did tell you that I had a feeling that Lane, even though he said he may not make it, I told you I had a feeling that he would make it at some point. So
I just got home 5 minutes ago. It was an hour and a half drive.
So Lane, we appreciate you. I'm glad you made it home safe because I know it was raining pretty bad there, as you told me.
I think Attack of the Clones line is the line I'm considering strongest. I think there are a bit more face sculpts in there. It really blew me away, and the nostalgia to that compared to this Ahsoka show kind of wins that over for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for this question, Chris, I'm just take your thoughts and feelings of the characters out. I'm just talking about execution. I do see what you're saying though. There is
that, but I mean,
there's definitely more to it for sure.
Especially Anakin's sculpt.
We also have to remember there's 9 figures versus only 5 right now. So we need to see what is the final total.
Right, and that's part of it too. There's definitely, and you know, that's the next part of our discussion. We're going to talk about like what else we would like to see and what we think we'll potentially see from this line. So of course, I do see what you're saying, Chris. There is, I guess what you're saying is like you can't really quite make that call at the moment, especially because there's a lot less figures in this line.
It's also hard to take my feelings out of it just because I forget. I think it was Mike who said like we hadn't seen like the lightsaber stuff or whatever, like because Andor was different. But I personally like all the lightsaber stuff. So
yeah,
I feel like them doing all the jet like Mace and Anakin. It's hard to take my feelings out.
It wasn't the rain I was worried about getting here. It was mostly the morons in front of me to cut me off and nearly crashed into me.
So that's when Lane he hit him with a pit maneuver and took him off the road to get here on reasonable time. A lot of people are saying that they think this is the best line since the Rogue One line. That's another absolute beautiful line.
It's one of my favorites.
I have
really
I think
nice.
all of the main character figures from that line, and I have the Death Trooper specials. I don't have the deluxe, but I have the specialist, and I got the deluxe parts, thankfully. But yeah, that's another incredible line. Like they
that's
really
when we could use a new one of hello Andor
Updated
because the leather on those is starting to get old.
Dude, yes, Beskar They is a dude, one of my favorite films, dude, and it's such a obscure, like Roddy Piper out of all actors they chose for that one, but it just worked. John Carpenter is a legend, dude. I love everything John Carpenter.
But it looks like Beskar kid borrowed from Nate his latest selfies.
Yeah,
you know what else I love about They Live? They Live is like a political movie that is
still relevant today.
It's timeless and doesn't take any sides or anything. It's just about being aware of the world as it is, you know. And I've always appreciated that about that film. But back to what Chris was saying, like, yeah, I'm glad you reminded me of the Attack of the Clones line because it's not that I forgot about it, but in comparison to this, it's got some really strong head sculpts. But this line doesn't yet have the Mace Windu sculpt situation where you can make an argument that it's not quite there. Whereas like with this line, I can't say that yet. The 3 we've got, and I'm like, holy cow, those are incredible. You know,
a lot of people also had a lot to say about the Padme sculpt. I love the Padme sculpt, but there was a lot of people that weren't entirely happy with the Padme sculpt. But yeah, for sure, I think, believe it or not, I think one that could pose some difficulty for Hot Toys is the Balin sculpt if they do end up doing Balin. And the reason I say that, I've seen a lot of third-party sculpts from some pretty good sculptors, and not a lot of them have been able to nail that Ray Stevenson likeness. So I'm very interested to see, and we know Hot Toys, they do a great job with old men, so let's hope that continues with this one. But
who doesn't do a great job with old men?
Yeah. That could
Thanks,
be the
thanks.
one. That could be the one. And look who joins us. That's a familiar face, guys. If you don't know,
Yeah.
this is the owner of Off the Racks, John Hensley. What's up, John? By the way, guys, I don't know what's left on
Happy
Off the
birthday.
Racks. It's John's birthday today.
Yeah.
How did I miss that, John?
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
guys!
Happy birthday.
Please,
Hey, we
please
should
wish a
all
big
sing.
happy birthday in the chat. To
No,
John.
yeah, let's not sing
Yeah,
happy
let's
birthday.
sing to him.
How about
Maybe we
Sean
get a
just
solo
sings
from
to him?
Lane? Maybe Lane should do a solo. Lane's like absolutely
Yeah,
not.
it's like
Just charge
happy
Lane.
Hensley birthday to you.
John
Happy
Hensley has
to
a
you.
birthday.
All right, Sean.
Yeah.
Lane was doing a great job, and there you go,
My
throwing
bad.
it off.
Sorry, Lane. Go ahead. Continue.
There you go, throwing it off. But
I'm not gonna make. We don't need the viewer.
Mike's
numbers
gonna go change his
down like a
outfit
rock,
for a
or
birthday suit.
people start turning off. They're taking off their likes and putting this in the dislikes.
right,
So I'll leave it
right.
at that. But I do have to say for this line, for me, what they've done with this line, I obviously. Until I don't think you can judge these really until we actually, something like that. Until we actually get them in hand, and that's still true for the Attack of the Clones. At least Attack of the Clones, we've gotten like half the line in now already because we've all the troopers,
we're well through that line. Do we got the battle
five
droid?
of the five, basically wave one.
And Anakin and Padme are kind of right around the corner at this point. It's always weird to look at that line and see that we've got a lot of the figures already. It feels like yesterday all that stuff was
most
announced.
of the ones with the head sculpt we haven't got yet.
I was going to say they held all the head sculpts. Yeah.
But,
go ahead, Lane.
I just think for this one it's hard to judge till we get all like the entire line, because Rogue One, we've had the line for years, so that's the one thing I think holding up. But I think the price point that they have tried to keep this line at, where we can say the most expensive. Now, obviously, I think Ahsoka is going to probably be higher because they're going to probably do a couple versions of her. But where they have tried to keep, which may be helping to sell this line more, because people, whatever our thoughts, people kind of had a mixed reaction to the show itself. But the figures have all been banger, have been so well done, even like Marrok or something, who probably most people might go, I don't know about this guy, if they're going to do 7 or 8 figures in the line. But, they might be more likely to buy a Night Trooper because it's a different type of Stormtrooper or something like that than maybe this guy. But even Chopper, like they've done such a high job with that. I think that's good, helping to sell the line more and also keeping it at the price point they are. They may, who knows what the development costs, but they might per volume be selling some more of this line. And I think you guys are somewhat right that they might go maybe a little bit deeper than maybe they originally, like Kenobi. They didn't go super deep into Kenobi, or something. But because they don't have a lot coming, unless they do like 40th, if they're not willing to do the juggle to the 40th anniversary of like Return or something, they don't have, I don't know if Skeleton Key, they're going to do something. And I'm not thinking I'm taking a shot in the dark that I don't know if the Disciple, or what is that one? The Disciple that's coming next year.
It's hard to keep up to because half of them
talking about Acolyte.
Acolyte.
The Acolyte. That one does not have that. That seems to be like negative buzz times 1,000 for just behind the creative stuff behind that. So they might be going deeper into this line. Like they could do 8-9 figures in it, like Attack of the Clones, just because they got to have product for something. And at least so far, this has had a positive buzz. So I love everything they put out, even though like Marrok, I was kind of like, my first response when I saw him. But
yeah. That's fair. We talked about it, Lane, obviously before you came in here, but Chris and Steve, they said like, right now it's not like I'm 100% grabbing him. I want to see, if they do Balin, if they do Shin, and that makes a lot of sense. It's certainly a companion piece for a stronger character for a lot of people, because obviously based on his appearance in the show, that's what he was. He was a side character, and Balin,
like a couple spoken lines when he's
right, and Balin, he didn't have as much screen time as like Ahsoka and all them, but he would be more of a main character, much more than Marrok.
Do you think the hardest thing for him is probably going to be that beard?
I do. I do. Because it's a very thick beard, and we haven't seen a lot of characters, at least recently, with like beards that thick. I'm very confident, especially after
It'll
getting
be good. I have no doubt it'll be good, but it may not be great like I think we've seen some.
I think they could pull it off. So, dude, I got the Green Goblin Deluxe today. I was a little late on it, just showed up, and that sculpted hair looks beautiful in person. And the thing they did with that shows me that Hot Toys is really stepping up their game. You cannot see that seam at all. The whole back of the head, in terms of the hair piece, comes off of the figure. You cannot see that seam at all. 10 years ago, we would have never expected that. But they are doing great work. And I like the comment. I completely missed it because it was right when you came in. Action in the Box said, "InArt push Hot Toys up. This Ahsoka line and Artisan line is proof." And yes, I very much think that Hot Toys has like a fire lit under their butts right now, and they're like, dude, we need to step up our game. Not entirely though, the pleather thing, and we still need to work that out. But I do think they're making an effort to do better head sculpts,
and
more
help their
consistent head sculpts. Price point, especially with Star Wars, Marvel, they're still kind of jipping us a little bit, but
The Marvel.
and,
a little bit
the
lesser
Feral
known
Predator, the Feral Predator, we're paying for that one.
Yeah. And a little lesser known characters, at least as of right now. Now, 5 years from now, depending on how this Mandoverse goes. But I did want to ask, I know you guys probably talked about it earlier. This was to the panel, but I wasn't here. I was wondering, did you guys discuss at all how you guys were thinking about the USB lightsabers and how they're working those?
We did talk about that on last stream.
I don't want to make this okay. Well, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we talked about that on last stream. I think we're all in agreement. It's not anything better in terms of brightness and everything. It's maybe slightly brighter than the battery powered ones. I don't want to get into that too much, Lane, but I think we're all kind of in agreement. We wish they were a little bit brighter, but as we said on last stream, Hot Toys did not advertise them as being brighter. All they said was these are going to be USB powered. So maybe we had some false expectations, but I kind of expected it was going to be about the same. I think some people were just hoping we are going to see like a CCFL type of thing, but with the batteries being in the hilt like that, just like when you have 1-to-1 scale lightsabers, it's not going to be that bright. That's just how it is, because
Lane,
pushing the light all the way up to the tip of the blade,
Lane, if you were to represent USB lightsabers in a hand gesture, what would that be?
I was going to ask if you saw him. You were smirking. I'm surprised Sean didn't say anything.
If Sean had his camera on right now, we'd probably see.
Where are we going with this? But anyway, but Lane, you did bring up a great point because, after this, right, we've got the Acolyte and then Skeleton Crew, which is a bunch of child actors. So they're probably not going to be, pulling much from that. So
maybe they may pull an Andor out of their butt finally.
Right.
Some
Let's
people,
hope Andor season 2 is coming.
People,
so
but some people want it.
They'll do it. They'll do Andor season 2.
I'm still looking for.
I think so too.
2 and 1 Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I think we'll be waiting for that for a while.
You should give us an artisan Obi-Wan from Attack of the Clones is what I want.
What's up? Yeah, what the dude?
God, that would be.
What's up, D'Lo?
Yeah,
I think the scary thing is Chopper's still the best looking likeness of all of them. He's the closest one that looks like this.
Yeah, but he's not diecast. See, that's why I put it back into the Attack of the Clones. At least the dome of R2 was diecast, and then we got our first diecast C-3PO.
That thing is heavy.
It is heavy.
That's right. Yeah, if you guys watch Chris's review, I was
He keeps making fun of me for it.
He's like,
I was impressed.
This is so heavy. And
dude, I wasn't even making fun of you, bro. And I watched that review.
I've just been giving him crap about it because we make fun of each other's reviews all the time. He quotes me and I quote him. So, but I've been saying that to him for a couple of weeks now. I'm like, this is so heavy, guys.
It is heavy. I think Connor. I think you're right. Sorry, somebody's just saying something. I was just say, I think you had mentioned strongest prototypes. Back to the question. I think. This is absolutely some of the strongest stuff they've done. And I'm not really concerned about it dropping in quality because there hasn't really been a drop in quality in any that I can think of in the most
lately
past.
Lately we've seen less of that percentage that we had in our heads,
And some of them, one that comes to mind is Fennec Shand is a phenomenal head sculpt that I think when I was looking at the release of Fennec that it was actually a little bit better than the prototype if I remember, and I was going through that I was this Cosca Reeves is another one that they absolutely just nailed the sculpt. So I'm not really worried about them, the quality of the figures we're getting here. I think these prototypes are going to probably be pretty close. Another thing is look at Cad Bane. He's another one who these alien characters, if you will, or these characters who are different species. They've just been nailing the head sculpts on them. So Hera's probably going to they're all going to be really good. This is a line that I feel every figure that's come out, I've said the same thing every single time they release them. Like, this looks incredible. I don't have a lot of, you know, if anything, like the really little small nitpicks about stuff that you could come up with probably for any figure, but
exactly.
Kind of going along with what Chris said too, like it's hard to take the emotion out of it because like you have rebels riding on this as well. That's a really big deal for a lot of people, myself included, where like, look at all these figures. 3 out of the 4 of them are rebels characters. You know what I mean? So, or I'm sorry, 4 out of the 5 are rebels characters. So if they keep doing that, like you're going to capture the people who also like rebels as well. And that's like just a lot of characters that are in the show. So,
dude, I bought the Grand Inquisitor because of Rebels. So
exactly. And he didn't have the skinny head that we were hoping for, but it's the representation.
I mean, it wasn't exactly necessarily because he showed himself to be an overpowered maniacal villain or something like that in the
and dude, he has a
Obi-Wan
helicopter
series.
lightsaber. Who doesn't want that? You know, who doesn't want those?
There are a lot of movies
That's wonders for the will to live.
I know. Chris, I don't know if you saw someone just snuck in here. You know,
I did.
I don't see a belt over your shoulder. I think we're disrespecting our guy here, but Big Dog Pound, what's up, bro? We'll give Chris a chance to redeem himself. Maybe he's got the mini belt. Chris, I think we're due for the mini belt, actually. I think that's what we're due for, the little belt. But Big Dog Pound, what's up, my friend? I hope you're doing well. And look who finally decided to join us. We have Austin in the chat. What's up, bro? He says, hey, y'all. Austin and Chris and I have something fun planned here when I get back on vacation. We're going to do something cool. So, but what's up, Austin? But here we go. You know, I had to have him bust out the mini belt because it just makes me laugh every single time he pulls it out. I feel like it could probably fit around his waist, though.
I was going to say mini belt for a mini guy, but Big Dog Pound is a big guy. So give it up for the man who just came in. He's not late. He's always here, always been watching. Woo!
Yes, sir.
It's already
yes,
started,
sir.
but it just got heated with him joining.
Chris is always coming out for you know that. So what's up, Big
That
Dog?
just tells me right there that Chris is now all elite.
He is. So, guys, we're gonna have one more conversation about the Ahsoka stuff before we move on to the rest of the topics tonight. But this is a fun one because, you know, we're at the end of the day when we're talking about this stuff, we're dreamers, right? We're dreaming about what we might see from this line. So the final question in terms of the Ahsoka stuff is who do we want to see next in the Ahsoka line? You know, I pulled up the photo I thought was most fitting here because there's someone in particular, obviously, that everybody's been begging for ever since the show came out, and that's Baylan. I think for a lot of us, you know, there's a lot riding with this character. One, there's a lot of mystery. We saw where the show ended off. You know, we got a glimpse of some stuff from the Clone Wars there at the end. And not only that, you know, with Ray Stevenson recently passing, it makes it even sentimental in a way to have a figure of him. So to me, I think this is very important. Also, this character was much more important to the story than I originally anticipated. You know, just seeing, you know, the previews and stuff, I'm like, where are they going with this? And he was very important to the story. And I think he's even more important. And the question that I have about this character is like, what are they going to do with him now? You know, with his unfortunate passing, where the show left off, I'm puzzled as to what's going to happen with this character. And I'm very worried because I hope they do him justice in the best way that they can, because obviously it's very difficult when someone passes away. We saw it with unfortunately with Chadwick Boseman, like how the task that they were tasked with to honor him and somehow include him in the second Black Panther film. So it's going to be a big task, but this is one I would love to see a figure of. I don't know about you guys. I don't know who would want to see Morgan here as a figure as well. I personally would. I don't know. It's hard to decide. I don't know about you guys. Would you rather see her as we see her here, or would we rather see her, you know, after she got the blessing from the Night Sisters and kind of turned into that
Blade of Talzin.
Two head skulls.
I think I'm with
Talzin.
you, right? I think I'm with you. That blade is so badass.
Yeah. I would pose her with that. Blade. That's what I would want for sure.
Yeah. So because I feel like she kind of had like a boring look to her otherwise, and I feel like that really not only aided in her cool factor, but that blade, it just adds so much presence. So yeah, I'm right there with you. If we get a figure of her, man, I'm all in on that.
She's maybe the one character.
USB blade.
Dude, imagine if they could pull that off.
She's the one character, probably of main characters, I'm totally could pass on. Like, I just didn't care about her character at all.
She's the Night Sister, though.
It doesn't matter. I'd rather get one of the Night Mother. Give me Claudia Black Night Mother instead. Since
She
that's
was
like
great.
that's
Yeah.
Aronson from, what was it?
Imagine if they gave us just a little 3-pack of them. Just a little 3-pack,
God, that would be like $900 or something.
I feel like it'd be a little, because there's not much to them, maybe it's like a little
Yeah.
mystical effect coming from their hands or something. Call it a day.
Figure out how to get those balls to kind of like look like they're
maybe like a little
levitating or
clear
something.
flight pole going up, like
yeah,
they've done
yeah.
with some of the stuff.
Honestly, I know you guys would probably be the only one. Like, I'd be the only one on it, but I'd rather get Morgan out of the way, and I would rather have one of those zombie Death Troopers. But I'm like, Death Troopers
That's
are my
so tough.
are my favorite trooper, and to have one that has like the cracked off, even though I know they were pretty much standard Death Troopers, but be able to get one with like a cracked off face showing the like it doing the ghoulie, the ghoulie roar and stuff, like it did at Sabine and stuff, having that and everything. Because I was like, are those Death Troopers? And I'm like, oh, they're like literally kind of Death Troopers now.
Right, from like the comics that we, the inspiration from the comics
and they
certainly
were
took with those.
And obviously those guys had been those zombies or whatever for quite a while to be in that condition. But they also were a little bit more smarter and not quite as stupid as the Night Trooper.
The Night Sisters are so interesting. Like, with Mother Talzin and old Daka, the scene from the Clone Wars where General Grievous just absolutely destroyed all of them. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff. A figure that we were really like begging on our knees for after we saw the Sidious come out, is the brother to Darth Maul, Savage Opress. So there's a lot of cool stuff with the Night Sisters.
And Mother Talzin's one of the only force wielders that actually was like eventually got overwhelmed, but she was one of the few force wielders, even more than Yoda, who was able to clash head on with the Emperor, like head on with him.
Well, I mean, look what she did to Dooku, bro. Look what she did to Dooku with the little the doll. I mean, that was just,
she's one of, this was in a comic for Darth Maul and stuff, but it is officially part of the canon. But she was one of the few characters using her blade and was able to clash head on with the Emperor, and not even Vader necessarily would survive doing that. So she eventually got, killed by Palpatine, but she was able to fight him head on for a little bit. So it shows how powerful, and these are supposed to be 3 other mothers. Now they may not be as powerful as Talzin, but it shows what they're capable of and how strong they can be now, especially with the Emperor, at least at this time, him and Vader out of the way, and this time in the timeline. So I think I would take a Death Trooper zombie like over Elizabeth.
But would you take a Death Trooper zombie over the GOAT Hu Yang? Absolutely not.
Yeah, like in a million years.
No,
diecast Hu Yang, please.
Hu Yang is the GOAT. If you
Make
guys
him
have
full
seen
diecast.
cartoons as well, like this character is so awesome. I saw somebody with like they showed us a photo of him with the training sabers. I'm like, imagine if Hot Toys pulled that off with all the arms out with like the beams coming from the training sabers. Like, dude, this character, I love droids, and this is one of the wittiest, most. He's a very, very like important droid. He's been training Jedis for generations and generations. So there's so much to this character, and the fact that we got to see him in live action, the design is amazing. I feel like droids that have a face have like a bit more personality to them because it's more relatable to like a human interaction, So this character is amazing. The voice acting was incredible. There's just so much to love about him. I would absolutely love to see Hu Yang. If they did a diecast, like Steve said, like that's just cherry on top. Like, and I feel like a lot of people would buy this one. I feel like we often talk about side characters and stuff. I feel like this is one that people would make an exception on because I think we underestimate how many people really love droids. Like droids just bring your displays to life. I mean, C-3PO and R2-D2, I mean, those are some of the most beloved characters in Star Wars, and they're just droids, but they have so much personality. Chopper has so much personality. Like these droids,
war criminal.
They've done such a great job.
Sociopath.
Dude, he remember when he had
Chopper's
what was
wild.
it? His what part did Chopper need? Oh, he needed another leg or something. Remember that episode in Rebels where he needed to replace his leg? That episode was hilarious, dude.
Or how about when he
it was
dumps
wild.
that droid off the ship?
Oh,
And then
dude.
they have to show you that the droid landed safely and he's on the
Right.
planet, he's okay. But like, he's such a murderer. It's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Beskars are on board with Hu Yang. I like to hear that.
Hu Yang's
dude,
like
Hu Yang, man.
he's like a historical representation of Star Wars and as a droid.
I know.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like there's,
And if he came
he's such
with,
a
like, dozen
complex
lightsaber
character.
hilts,
Yeah, right.
He's
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
dude. All the training sabers, that'd be amazing.
Training stuff would be really cool.
Hey, with Hu Yang though, the thing is, if you look at it right, they could do just like what they did with Cad Bane. They could do a Disney Plus series, Hu Yang, and then they can do a deluxe version to go back for the Clone Wars.
They could
Yeah.
surprise us with that. Yeah. That would be really
Super
cool.
cool.
Like a little lightsaber table. Can you imagine that? Like the table with all the parts on it or something? That'd be amazing, dude.
Yeah, with like elemental parts and like all this different from like those
Like a
different
hill,
styles.
like a hill building set. That'd be really
That'd be
cool.
amazing, dude.
Oh my god.
HG says, I almost felt like Hu Yang was going to be the first figure from the Ahsoka. Yeah, dude. I mean, why not, right? I mean, I feel like a lot of people, if you didn't like this character because maybe you hadn't seen the shows, I feel like a lot of people really received this character well. And I think they did a good job at like throwing him in where he needed to be thrown in without kind of forcing him down your throat. I think he was awesome, you know, and they
He's
really
almost
squeezed him in. Where they needed to.
main character.
For sure. You know, he has a
yeah.
lot of interactions on screen with Ahsoka and the rest of her gang. And I think he did a great job. You know, Big Dog Pound with, he says, if they could do that, they can do Grievous. Dude, I hope so, man. You know, I got my sideshow Grievous that's never to be moved ever again until I move out of this house into another one. Yeah, that, I mean, I think, you know, when the timing is right, we'll see a Grievous from Hot Toys. I certainly don't think that they're like, oh, we don't need this. I don't. Do you guys see Hot Toys doing another regular Ahsoka figure? I feel like because they were so reserved with Mando season 3, I think they're probably going to stick with just the white version, which is the smart decision to make. You know, a lot of people get upset when they kind of basically re-release another figure in a similar fashion. Because obviously with this one,
I could see the blue one being later, like as an exclusive.
I would, yeah, me personally, I would be cool if they just left it alone and gave us the white version. I'm very happy with my Mandalorian version. Yes, it would be cool to have the longer Leku, but would that justify me thinking that maybe they should do another figure? Probably not. You know, I'd rather them reserve.
It might be harder to pose. You know, that could be the trade-off too.
I don't think they're that bad though, Lane. I think they did a pretty good job with the material, at least in the Leku.
Like Ahsoka, the Clone Wars is hard to move the head because they're really
right,
long.
but I do think they improved it though with the Mando version. I think it's a bit soft. Yeah, because you're right. The Clone Wars version, it's a much sturdier material, much firmer material.
Yeah. And
I think they've done, like, especially with, like, we talked about Fennec earlier. They did a great job on that posable ponytail of her.
Yeah.
Because it works. You know, and I don't have any fear that it's going to snap. Hera's
going to have moldable Leku, so like hopefully they would use that same technology.
I think
in
so.
This
I think
updated
they
Ahsoka
would
figure to make it so you can actually move it.
Do you want for Ahsoka, if they, you know, for the white, do you guys want switch out eyes where they have the light and dark side?
That would be cool, but she wasn't wearing that white outfit, correct, when she was doing that. So because that was prior to her kind of like realization of like, hey, I want to make this
when
change.
has that ever stopped Hot Toys from being 100% exact?
It hasn't. It hasn't. No, you're totally right. It hasn't.
I mean, don't they have the bonus version for John Wick 4, him using the one gun, which is like for one of the earlier movies?
I don't know off the top of my head if that's true. I'm not sure, but yeah, Lane,
If
I would not put it past them.
Like some luminescent paint effect on it that was clear.
Right, yeah, that might be a good trade-off. Yeah, that you kind of can't see unless you hit it with a black light. That would be cool.
Yeah, I would say just they shouldn't do it with the Ahsoka the white figure.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I don't think
the moment was too short.
It'd be really cool if they included like a Morai or something with her. Like give us the
and we did get to see it briefly, so I hope so, man.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to like get something like that and just kind of like I said, all encompassing of the character. Do you guys think Do you guys think like this show is gonna give us the sculpted version of Artisan Anakin? Like, do you see that coming for this show as a potential?
I would hope so. Like dark.
That's why I was thinking they held off on him, right?
I would think like that's I think like the safe bet is that they didn't give us a sculpted Anakin like because they gave us sculpted Wanda, sculpted Joker. They didn't give us sculpted Anakin. And the reason being, I would feel like this is the perfect opportunity to give us that representation of the character sculpted for wide availability, right, for the show and
with a Vader saber.
Market him for Ahsoka. I think that'd be perfect.
We saw C-3PO again in the show too.
Separate thing.
Yeah, there was a brief appearance for C-3PO as well. Here's another one, guys. Sorry, it took me a bit to scroll through the photos. We obviously, you know, if you want Balin, you want Shin as well, and this character also kind of experienced a bit more of an arc than I expected. You know, being like a bit of a side character. I think there's a lot of potential for this character as well. So I think a lot of people are interested, not only because she looks cool, but I think there's more to her that we're going to see later. I'm very interested to see where she ends up. You know, if she goes on the path that she was going on.
Hottie.
We got to get her as a figure. Her and Balin.
I agree.
We got to get both of them. I really hope we get both of them. And they
I
don't
do
just
too.
do
So
one
do
of
I.
them. We got to get both.
I was making the joke when Marrok was first announced. I was like, they've got to release the other two now, right? Like they can't just give us Marrok and then like this is all we get. I feel like it's never a done deal, but in a way, I'm like, it's got to happen, right?
They
We
do
got
that,
to
man.
Well,
They
I
don't
mean,
really
but-
finish lines.
Yeah, but remember, they gave us, like, to help fill out Obi-Wan, they gave us the 501st and Legion Trooper that had absolutely nothing to do
Yeah,
with
It's
anything.
also-
It just kind of ended off there instead of, like, even if they
That
did
is
fifth
true.
brother or fourth sister or whatever, would have made more sense. Like, hey, you guys made the prototype.
I think this show like falls in the realm of kind of Mandalorian style because we know all these shows are going to culminate with like a big bang, right? With Filoni doing a movie.
Mhm.
So I think like Mandalorian has over 30 figures, right?
Yeah.
Like that line has over 30 figures. I just don't see Hot Toys really slowing down. And we kind of just talked about there's not a ton of stuff in the pipeline coming out, right?
yeah.
So like this is gonna like this show seems like one that's probably gonna get a second season potentially, I would hope. Or
I
like
think so,
it's-
yeah.
Or like you have to explore this further. They left it open ended for a reason. It's either gonna get a second season or it's gonna potentially culminate in a movie. I hope we end up getting second season so we get
I
more of
agree.
this. But like this isn't going away. This isn't like a lot. This isn't a show that's like Kenobi show where they did the show.
And that, it's a one and done.
I said it's limited. It's limited, one and done. 6 episodes, right? I think it was 6.
Yeah.
Like this is an 8-episode season. It's a longer show. There's more. This is also a continuation of a very detailed long story in Rebels. It's not like it's a brand new thing. So like I see them riding this wave of like making a
But
lot
you
of
would-
figures from this.
You
Yeah.
kind of hope when they designed it, like when they were doing the plotting and laying out of stuff, they kind of had at least some idea they were going to do a second season, or I would say they really planned the ending really terrible.
Yeah.
If
This
they
show
didn't
has-
have any idea that they might get a second
This show
season.
has bigger ramifications, right, than some of these other series. I guess is what I'm saying too. That we've gotten from Star Wars, like Book of Boba Fett is like filling stuff. Like these other things are like kind of filling stuff in, or their timelines. Like Kenobi's in a certain timeline where beyond that we already know what happens. This is like opening up, just a bunch of ideas.
Right, we
as
don't
far
know
as
the
where they
end
go
of
from
their
here,
story, right?
Yeah,
Like
we're
Kenobi
filling
was
out a
very much
huge
like
timeline.
exactly. Kenobi was very much, guys, like here we're gonna fill in this bit of timeline that you guys never got a chance to see. How did Obi-Wan go from the hopeful Jedi that he was to this hermit hiding in a cave? So that was a very important way to fill it in. But like you said, Steve, it was just a one and done. Like they achieved what they wanted to achieve. People liked it, people didn't, But with this show, that's a great point. And the other thing too that this opens up, that there's not going to be a lot of content for a while is, again, like maybe that's when Hot Toys goes back to the drawing board and says, okay, you guys wanted some Return of the Jedi stuff, or you want some stuff from Andor. Maybe that's the potential for the drought of content for them to give us some more stuff. So I do think that's an indication that we're going to get more Ahsoka stuff, but also Chris, and you can go ahead and jump in, but I do think that that's a potential for them to fill in some of that stuff that we were hoping for.
No, I was just gonna say I think that's why they probably leave stuff open-ended for years to come. Like in the future, they can just go back and do something. It's a smart move, and not a lot of us want to see that. We want everything like at once. We want it now. But
Well, I mean, with the
can't
Ahsoka
always work
line,
like that.
yeah, I mean, I agree with Chris there. And also with the Ahsoka line too, we have the actual proper painted phase 1 for the 501st clones in the show. So, I mean, that's something I'm expecting to come out, a phase 1 Captain Rex.
That'd be cool.
I'm expecting to come out. The version of Ahsoka where she's in the brown clothing as a teenager or younger, probably like around 12 or 13 years old. That Ahsoka there, we could probably get. Because I would be surprised if they didn't make that one.
Do you guys
Especially
think,
with how
Sean, do you think
popular
they
that
would do
actress
this?
is getting.
Do you think they would do? A lot of people were saying that they could see them doing a second version of Sabine. I think they're probably going to be one and done with Sabine for now. I saw a lot of people saying they could see them doing this look here with the long hair, possibly. I mean, potentially even the speeder bike. I saw some people saying
Only if she's like sold out. Like if she goes waitlisted both here and in Hong Kong within 6 months.
I predict all of these do hit waitlist, but maybe that's just
stuff. And if you guys haven't seen recently, people in the chat, especially, like a lot of stuff has been going to wait lists a little bit quicker. Even some of this stuff is just like see you later, gone. And then like even like we saw recently with the stuff from Across the Spider-Verse, the timer just randomly showed up on those special editions on Sideshow, and they're like, "You have this amount of time left to pre-order these." So
they're trying to crack the market. They're trying to do these things to push people to buy. But it's really tough because all this stuff that's waitlist right now is all readily available. You can get anything you want right now. You know what I mean?
And you're getting
for the most part. I should say there's always exceptions to that. Like Crosshair is an exception where he's going for whatever,
buku bucks,
$400
like over
so
$400.
Yeah, it's just like a random figures that's happening for. But the majority of stuff right now you can get still relatively easily in the secondary market, or even like still around the same retail price. So it's really hard for me right now, it's really hard to buy into like full on wait list if that's going to actually cause like scarcity within the amount of figures that they're making and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for a different time. But
yeah, it's understandable.
No, but you're right. We've heard about that with like the Clone Pilot, right? Apparently
he's going for like 200. I've seen him for like 200, $225.
So yeah, at one point he was selling for over 300, and then I guess when everybody got their orders in, people realized, okay, maybe he wasn't as limited as we thought. Yeah. So that happens sometimes too.
But with the shinies, it's the opposite.
Right. It depends on what it is, right? It depends on how some of these places were getting additional units, I guess, like leftovers from Sideshow for C-3PO and stuff. So it really depends. But really quick, we have a question from Tom I wanted to address. Tom says, random question. How did the rights work with Ray Stevenson now that he passed? Does his estate make the call to approve the likeness or something else? Tom, I would say maybe it depends on how that was worked out prior to passing. Maybe they worked out a deal with Ray prior to like, hey, we own the rights for merchandising and stuff like that. Or, maybe if that wasn't fully worked out to where they had full control of it, I guess at that point they would have to discuss that with his estate. Obviously, we don't really know the exact deal that was worked out, but if anybody else on the panel has more insight on that, I'm not exactly the expert on licensing. I have a basic understanding of it, but that's what I would imagine would be the case. I feel like, it's really dependent upon what deal was worked out prior to his passing. But I feel like either way, whoever's working with Disney on this, I think they'll do right by him. It seems like he had a lot of good people behind him, so I'm hopeful that they'll do something good with it.
Also, like they came out with a Black Series figure. I feel like if they come out with a Black Series figure, it's weird. Like I agree with what you said, Connor, about it's hard to tell like what they do, like when they get the rights, like when they're in their contract, are they saying, we have the right to use your likeness to market this, to make merchandise, to make toys. So like that's something that some people sign off on, and then other actors they're probably not allowed to. Or they don't allow that in their contract.
Yeah,
like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he's like, I'm not letting you make a Top Gun Maverick of
right. Well, dude, they made those Funko Pops without his approval, and they had to destroy them all. And
so there's an example of like these high level actors are probably like, no, you're not doing this. But
yeah, some people just don't want action figures made of themselves. That's just how it is.
Yeah, which is fine too. Right. But I feel like if he's Black Series is making all these, like that has to, and that's Hasbro. You know what? I would think like a higher end would be allowed. I don't know too much about it, but that is what I kind of go to when you see.
Right.
Like,
it's usually an indication, right, that there's potential for other scales. Like, again, we saw it with the Feral Predator. NECA it took NECA like a year and a half even to show their prototype, but that was a sign like, okay, maybe Hot Toys can do this. So it certainly is a lot of times an indication, because obviously it's not going to be limited by scale. Most likely it's really, is someone able to make a figure of this? If they are, cool, then we can discuss with other companies, other scales, and other projects. So certainly, but I think that probably is about it for like what a lot of people would be hoping for. If you guys have any other ones you want to throw out before we move on to the next topic, I feel like the main ones obviously are Balin Shin, Hu Yang, Lane mentioned the Death Troopers, Captain Enoch. Obviously, a lot of us probably want now, especially because
we didn't talk about Ezra. Like that was the one. That's
Ezra as well. Yeah, that's an obvious one. We didn't bring up Ezra. That's
I don't know
true.
if like there. I would think he's gonna get made. Like I don't see why they wouldn't at this point. Like I think he's gonna get made. But
he's another one with the beard. They got to make sure that they're not as much as Balin, but still.
No.
But we've seen representation of him in more of his Rebels look based from the hologram in the show. I think the 3 3/4 line, he's coming out.
They did. They're doing a 3.75 version of him and his Rebels attire that we saw in the hologram, like you said.
Right. Which I would prefer that, to be honest with you.
Of course.
If they did a Rebels Ezra look, that would be really cool. If they,
right, that would be best case scenario.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Hey,
was
Connor, I
going to
sent you a
say, and
picture.
Beskar said Ariana Greenblatt,
Yeah.
her version of Ahsoka. Now, I was telling him in the chat, like, I know they did the Clone Wars one, so that one's a little bit probably harder for Hot Toys to do, considering there is some version out there. Although, because now we have this version, like, of her younger in live action with that likeness, kind of makes me want that.
I think one of the issues is like being a minor. Like they don't have like when they're under 18. I think that's part of the reason why like
Yeah, but
like
can't
they
their
have to
parents?
I don't know. I don't know.
They just haven't done it before.
They just haven't done it, and I
so,
feel like
yeah.
when you're dealing with somebody who's under 18 and you're using their likeness, like that's like dangerous territory.
Yeah, like we
to
never
get
saw a
into.
young Leia either. You know,
Yeah,
a
you
lot of
never
people
see
are,
that,
including
and you see
myself,
that. That's why like the Clone Wars Ahsoka is just like a realistic adaptation to the character that doesn't have a likeness to an actor because
Yeah.
she's younger. You know what I mean? So like Ariana Greenblatt would be a nice, it would be cool, but I don't see them like getting her likeness because it just has never happened. It's like Jake Lloyd, like we'll never see a young Anakin because the dude will never allow. He's a little unique case. He's never gonna allow it, but.
Yeah,
Like you just don't see it with these younger characters. Harry Potter, like in our Harry Potter is one, but Daniel Radcliffe's older. He probably said, "Okay, I'll allow you to do it because I'm an adult now."
And Daniel Radcliffe's case, he definitely like is not one of those bitter actors who's like, I want no association with Harry Potter. You know how like Robert Pattinson doesn't like to be associated with Twilight anymore, but I think Daniel Radcliffe still has a great relationship
Harrison
with
Ford
Harry
case.
Potter as a whole. Yeah, Harrison Ford. Yeah, like you know, we got our indie figure. That was shocking, wasn't it? But
I'm surprised none of you guys have mentioned the Noti. They didn't make your list. Turtle creatures.
They would be cool. That'd be cool little.
It would be cool. Like throw it in with Ezra. If they released an Ezra, throw one. in
That's what I was
Ezra?
gonna say.
Yeah,
as a companion piece
really
to Ezra,
cool.
that would
Deluxe.
make the most sense because like by itself, you know, whatever. But
Do a DX with one of those guys.
What were those
Exactly.
things
like
they
them.
were driving to or whatever?
Oh, dude, that's
Yeah.
we're
Star
going
Wars
too far.
vehicles.
Back with them like you do the blurg or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Beskar says maybe I'll have to wait 2 years.
That would be
for her
really
to turn
cool.
18
Like
to
that'd
get
be
figure.
awesome if she like turned 18 and then they.
Well, because she was young Gamora as well, and we never saw
Mhm.
that figure because that would have been cool.
And putting her next to Clone Wars Anakin, like in a Clone Wars display, would just be really, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it would bring the realism up even more so. Like I like the Ahsoka Clone Wars, but this would be even better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on from the Ahsoka topic. I have a couple more things that are kind of cool from this week that I want to talk about before we end out the stream. This one brief conversation I just wanted to show you. I thought this was a very interesting IP that Hot Toys, I guess, is going to end up doing. Nice.
This can't.
Yes, I waited for this.
Let me try.
Were you going to Toys Wonderland?
I was not going to Toys Wonderland, believe it or
He
not.
was
Let's try
going
this
to
again.
some
There we
point,
go.
right?
Guys, for those of you that didn't see it, this is legitimate. It looks like Hot Toys is doing a Timothy Chalamet Willy Wonka. So definitely one of those one-off
I'll have all
IPs
three.
that a lot of us did not expect. But it's cool to see. It's always cool. And I think what this is a good indication of is what Hot Toys is willing to do. Maybe in the near future with a bit of a Star Wars content drought, they might also start giving us a bit more one-off stuff. Along with this photo as well, guys, this post also included Aquaman 2 stuff. Obviously, we already knew when Hot Toys announced all their IPs that they recently acquired, you know, when they posted the John Wick stuff and everything. They did say that they were doing Aquaman stuff. So we're getting Timothy Chalamet, Willy Wonka most likely. And then they also mentioned Aquaman 2 again. So Aquaman 2, I'm just hoping for Black Manta. I just think he looks so badass in the new film. I know a lot of people are excited about the black suit. I have to see more of it. I'm not like super pumped on the new black suit for Aquaman, so I want to see more. People are calling it the stealth suit. Here's an interesting one, and I know someone else on the panel is pre-ordering this with me, but I'm curious to hear people's thoughts. Like, for those of you guys don't know, this is being made by DiD, and I know there's a misconception with this company that this is a third-party company. This is not a third-party company. So, guys, this is now the interesting thing about this one, this is not marketed, and I was telling Chris this afternoon when we were talking. This is not a Top Gun licensed product. They don't mention Top Gun anywhere. They just call him Maverick Mitchell, which I'm guessing maybe they licensed just for the character and not for the film itself because it was much easier to do and it saved them money. But I'm curious everybody's thoughts, whether you're getting this figure or not. You know, Tom Cruise has been a very difficult one, and we kind of talked about Tom Cruise earlier. So I don't know what they were able to do in terms of pulling the strings on this one. Maybe because it's the way that they were able to license them. But I think this is probably the best Tom Cruise sculpt that wasn't like a $350 sculpt done by like a custom maker that we've seen yet. A lot of the third party ones have just been like super off. Is this one like absolutely 100% there? No, but like you can even see from this side angle here, I think that's pretty decent. I mean, I feel free to jump in, guys. Like, what are your thoughts on this sculpt? I know a lot of people are like, this is probably the best one yet, and some people are like, it's still not quite there. Again, for me, I think it looks pretty decent. Is it 100% Tom Cruise? Absolutely not. But I think it's definitely probably the best one that we've seen yet, not in like a custom capacity. So
yeah, it's
feel
a
free to
decent
jump in,
sculpt,
guys.
dude. But I don't care about the sculpt at all. I want that first look, dude. With the
I want the helmet.
and-
Helmet on is
That's
the
what
way
I
to
was
go,
telling
so I don't
Chris,
really care
dude. It
about
looks
the
so,
helmet.
and it's properly
I would just
scaled.
keep the
This looks
shades
good.
on and hold.
Yeah.
I can't.
This looks like This looks more like Tom Cruise than the helmet off.
Yeah,
I feel like the
exactly.
eyes are good, but like
Exactly.
I don't love the helmet off look. But this look
Right.
is actually pretty good.
It's incredible, bro.
With his likeness, that's the most important thing, right, Mike? Is the eyes. That's what everybody messes up
100%.
is the eyes. So I think that was smart of them to like, let's make sure the best part of this sculpt is the eyes.
Yeah, this looks badass.
Dude.
So do you think that's just on top of the head sculpt? You don't think that's a separate sculpt?
No, I think it's on
I
top
think
of
it
the
looks
head
like it's
sculpt.
put right on top.
That
of
looks
it.
pretty
Imagine,
good,
dude.
That looks pretty good.
Sick, bro.
Man, imagine.
Yeah, do you have a price on this?
So this is available. Actually, Off the Racks ended up picking this up, and I think he has it for I think $270. And then if you use my code, it's $10 off. I think it's $270. But I will say this about this figure too, guys. You can have a lot of confidence in the figure in terms of the clothing and everything, because DiD, they're known for making military accurate figures, and they've been doing it for years. And their stuff is incredible. Like in terms of accuracy, I mean, look at the webbing on the back of his vest here. It looks beautiful. And again, like there's the VTS version of Maverick. The helmet was definitely way too big. On this one, they've scaled the helmet nearly perfectly from what I could see here. And I'm kind of with you guys. I love how that helmet looks. Like obviously, like this is a very iconic look, and I think it looks better with the glasses. Yeah, I was talking with Chris earlier, and he was like, and I kind of was like, dude, I'm on the fence, man, because the glasses, like those aviators, are so iconic. But that helmet just looks so good, and kind of like just getting a glimpse of his eyes there, especially like if you have the goggles pulled back, it just looks really good, man. And this is all that he comes with here, but again, like everything's just done really well. And this is the first time I think in terms of like a affordable capacity we've seen Maverick done properly. So I'm definitely interested in picking this one up. Actually, I should say I already did pick this one up. I grabbed it from Off the Racks, but I was definitely interested the moment I saw this. I'm like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for, because I've passed on a couple reluctantly in hopes that we saw something a little bit better. But sorry, go ahead, Chris. I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, I was just about to say the same thing. Like I had been waiting for somebody to actually kind of do this, because I've seen a bunch of customs, stuff like that. I've always wanted a Maverick in the collection. I wasn't old enough, or I didn't see the first one in the movies, and definitely saw Top Gun 2 in theater, which was pretty cool and emotional at the same time. They really did a good job with that film,
dude.
And Miles Teller definitely killed it. But yeah, it's a must-have. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I gotta have it in the collection for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if anything, this is good timing because they recaptured a lot of old fans with the second film, because the second film was fantastic. They did such a good job.
So good.
So good, dude. And I love the story with like, Goose and everything, the way that they integrated that. And then we got to see Val Kilmer return. Like it was just
for sure.
Dude, it was great. They did a great job. And because very often when they revisit films like this, they ruin them. They tarnish their memory. And I think they did great. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm very happy to finally get a decent one in my collection. I'm glad to hear other people are interested in this one too. But yeah,
is it still available?
I gotta find another motorcycle.
It is still available.
Scale motorcycle.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
If you know some kind of secret to find it, I can't. Sorry, but these sites frustrate me sometimes.
So he is available on Off the Racks. One of the moderators, if you wouldn't mind dropping a link in the chat for Off the Racks, I would appreciate that. Also through 1/6 Kit, if you log in, you're going to be able to see it. A lot of times you can't see some of these listings unless you're logged in. But I was surprised to see him up on Off the Racks because I don't think he usually carries their stuff. So thank you, Lane. Lane is the fastest one. I'm sorry, how much was it?
$215.
Even better.
Even better. I was way off on that price. I'm over here thinking I paid $270.
No, I think you might have looked when you're thinking of Kane.
Oh, I was probably looking
right
at
next to
Kane,
it.
bro. Yeah, $215, and then you get $10.
I thought that
off
seemed
with
a little
the
bit
code,
high for a third party.
I figured out why I couldn't find
It's
him.
not.
He's not.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the name Maverick anywhere in the.
It's Captain Mitchell.
Oh yeah, Navy fighter. I think on 1/6 Kit, or maybe it was Toys Frontline who originally posted this. Where I saw, I think it said like Maverick Mitchell in his post. That's probably where I got that from.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, best car. If you had the space for that, dude, 10 feet long, dude. Maybe a garage collection. Yeah, just have it hanging from the ceiling.
This movie made you want to become a pilot,
Jedi Starfighter.
Right.
Connor, did you say this? Did you say this? Like, where is this company based out of? Like, what country? Do you know?
Somewhere probably.
If I had to
like,
guess,
are they overseas? Or like, are they overseas?
Overseas.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they're not a third party company though, and like, John doesn't carry third party figures. Just as
that's what I was wondering. Like, I was gonna say, I didn't think he carried this type of stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't carry third party figures. They are officially licensed. Again, I have no idea how this was worked out. I don't know if maybe they pulled some slick shit and somehow did this figure.
I wonder if it has to do with like the Navy contract. Because they did all this work with the Navy. I wonder if they like pulled some strings to get this.
Exactly. I have no clue. That's why licensing is so confusing. Like, how the hell are they able to do this?
This company's website is .co, which I just looked up, and that's assigned to Colombia. Now, does that mean they're based in Colombia? I don't know, but
could be. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Let's see. Big Dog Pound says Top Gun Maverick was. I love the movie, and I am not a Tom Cruise fan. Hey, I mean that says something too. If you can watch an entire movie from an actor you're not a fan of, that's a testament to how decent the film was. But yeah, guys, Off the Racks 1/6 Kit. This guy's available again. Code HTH through Off the Racks gets you $10 off. As always, I always say I don't make any money, don't get any kickbacks, nothing. I just, those are the shops we all support. We know they're legitimate, so save you some money there. The next figure, guys, I just want to take a brief look at it. It's kind of a fun icebreaker here. I might get demonetized and lose my couple of dollars from this stream here, but I had to pull it up, right? I love this character, and people were having a ball looking at this figure on Facebook. So we're gonna do it for the stream.
You're insane.
We have Cammy from Street Fighter. Now, she doesn't look bad, and I think it's very cool that they gave her the alternate look.
The same company's doing that Chun-Li?
I don't know if it's the same company, Lane. I kind of tuned that Chun-Li out because I'm gonna get the one from Iconic Studios, which is gonna be the same case for this one. I'm gonna wait to see what Iconic does because I'm very happy with their figures thus far. But I did want to show this off because I think it's pretty nice looking. I don't have any faith that this body's going to last more than a couple of months, especially in a pose like that. But,
no,
I had to, I wish Manny was here. Manny's feeling under the weather. He'd love watching.
That looks like the Street Fighter 6 version of her, though. More.
Yeah, there you go, Lane. Yeah, that's what we're here for, right? But all jokes aside, I think she looks pretty decent. I think this is one of my favorite fighters in the universe. So it's going to be cool to see more of this character from Iconic. But
PCS is doing a huge. Life size.
Look at
that. Look at those glutes.
Jeez, man. PCS is doing a whole life size bust of Cammy. That's supposed to be. I know when they say they got coming, like the Chun-Li that they did.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I mean, yeah. All jokes aside, guys, I think she looks pretty decent. But I just wanted to show that it was a little. I know a lot of people were falling asleep at some point, so I had to wake them up with that one. Right. The next one. Mike, I'm sure I'm excited about this one because we've talked about it multiple times. But
how excited
from a basket, that's all you are.
That's awesome.
So I've been told with this one that this is of course, it's a recast from a really good custom. Some people even argued that that maybe this is the exact figure. They just haven't shown their prototype yet. Which at the end of the day, though, if this is the figure or if their prototype is close to this by copying it, I'll be pretty happy. You guys know I've said it many times. Mike and I have had a lot of conversations about Daniel Day-Lewis, and There Will Be Blood is one of my favorite movies ever. I'm sure you guys know I'm grabbing this one. It's an unknown company, so take that with what you will. We don't know much about this company, so it could arrive and be a total piece of dog shit. But I'm really excited for this one. It's definitely one of my favorite looks. I love
at
that
that.
classic, dude. It's just so cool, man. And this is the icing on the cake right here, right? I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that for this character. The sculpt, again, I don't know, guys. I'm not sure if they just took photos, because some people had mentioned that, but some people with the custom stuff, they get very defensive. So I don't know what the truth behind that is. But regardless, this sculpt is beautiful. I hope the actual final product is even remotely close to this, because I'll be very happy. Beskar Kid saying his glutes are better. Well, I'll take your word for it, dude. I see you deadlifting all the time on Facebook and squatting, so I'll take your word for it. But yeah, this figure is dope, dude. I'm really excited for this one because Mike, I have the other one, which is like the oil covered version, which is awesome. Yeah. But like this is like the hero version, and I hate to call him the hero because he's certainly not the hero, but yeah, this is like the hero version of it. So I thought this was really cool. I just wanted to show this to you guys really quick, because I'm sure you guys know I was really excited for it. But yeah, so I'm going to be picking that one up for sure. A lot of random third-party stuff this week. Another one, again, we're just jumping around, guys. We're jumping around here. It looks like Present Toys, guys, is going all in on the X-Men stuff. We got a little coming soon here for Magneto. So we saw the we saw the Cyclops last week, and now we see that they're doing a Magneto. So they're trying to capture those fans of all the classic X-Men stuff. So going to be very interesting to see what they do with it. The Cyclops, I don't hate it. I think it's a little goofy in some aspects. We kind of talked about that last week, but yes, they're going to be doing a Magneto. So that tells me that they're probably going all hand chair. That's cool. Right. That was interesting too, right? It's going to be interesting to see the scale, because obviously Sentinel is massive. So we'll see what the scale is on that. I have a feeling it's probably going to be a bit under scale, but you got to do what you got to do. It's got to be reasonable to go into your display, right? What else do I got? Oh, this is kind of cool. Here's another random third party that's pretty cool in my opinion. If you guys have seen Interstellar, this is Anne Hathaway's character. Is the sculpt like a total banger? No, but it's cool to see that they're taking a shot at this character, because a lot of companies have shown interest in doing figures from this film recently, and this is one that we have not seen yet. So I think it's pretty cool. This is Premier Toys, so I think they're the ones who did the Homelander. Was that Premier Toys or was that Premium Toys? Probably Premium Toys. Oh, Premier Toys, I think maybe did the Lizard. I think they were the ones that did the Lizard. Sorry, there's so many third party companies. I think overall this looks pretty decent though. The spacesuit looks good, and I think if you have the helmet on, that kind of helps with the lightness. I think there's a photo with the helmet off that doesn't look, not the best sculpt.
Her looking off to the side, it's not that bad. Dead on.
No, it's not terrible. Not terrible, but
like
not.
If you put the helmet back on, then her side profile is a bit better.
Yeah, like the hair looks decent. The hair is not bad. I just love Anne Hathaway, dude. Yeah, right. Yeah. Every time they do something of Anne Hathaway, it makes me happy, because I love Anne Hathaway. She's awesome. I can't wait for that Catwoman figure. But yeah, this is pretty neat. I don't know how many people are going to pick this one up, but definitely think it's cool. Now, finally, the final piece of news here before we close out the stream. Guys, I know you guys had a lot to say about this sculpt, and I feel like I was one of the very few people defending it.
Yeah.
But my boy Austin and I were actually talking about this the other night, and we were like, I'm fairly happy with what we were given. I don't think it's as bad as people said, but Mars being Mars, he went back to the drawing board and he said, let me make some tweaks where I can. So Mars has updated the open mouth sculpt, not the screaming sculpt. We've only been shown the regular default open mouth sculpt. Definitely some nice improvements made. Again, I didn't hate the original sculpt, but I could see the tweaks that he made here definitely brought up that likeness for sure. So I think this looks a lot better. Obviously, it's not painted, so that's another aspect that we have to see it painted. But the other one that he did update, I want to back out. Let me see if I could. Hold on one second. And that's taking.
He does look really good, dude. Looks.
Yeah, he also. Yeah, he also showed. Here we go. He also showed the extra pre-order. Sorry, I just blew your guys' ears out. He also showed the extra pre-order bonus with the closed mouth, because you guys everybody was like, oh, why didn't he do a closed mouth, blah blah blah. And Mars was like, you know what, okay, I'll give you guys the closed mouth as a pre-order bonus. So I think that looks just like Tom Wilson. Again, the paint adds a lot to the likeness too, but I think this looks awesome. And I'm glad to see, amongst all of the shit that Mars is working on, that he's willing to listen to your guys' feedback and go back to the drawing board. And it seems like he's very willing to do that across the board. So kudos to Mars Toys. Thank you so much, Mars. This is such an important character. I'm glad I had this on pre-order. The pre-order cut date for this one, guys, is tomorrow on 1/6 kit. People have asked me before, does that mean that it's gone for good off of 1/6 Kit's website? No, it does not mean that. That means that He's not accepting any new orders for additional units, but whatever units he has left allotted to his store, you could still pre-order beyond the cutoff date. So if you're interested in this, this is available on 1/6kit. There's a link in the description, and you can pre-order them there. And you can also, guys, for an extra $40, there's a separate SKU. You can get an extra body, which will allow you to utilize an additional look, because you get 3 looks for this guy. So definitely really cool. Definitely really exciting to see. Moose Stream, I can't remember the name of that company, but that figure is insanely overpriced. I can't remember. Yeah. And it's actually still available in 1/6kit. It's absurdly overpriced. I'm blown away by it. And it's limited to like 200, and it's still not sold out. So yeah, not interested in that one. I'll go with Present Toys. Whoever does a decent job on it, I'm cool with that. But excuse me. That's going to wrap it up, guys. I want to say, number one, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Such a fantastic stream. I really, really enjoyed the Ahsoka discussion. I think it was great to have Steve here, especially because you could tell how passionate he is about Star Wars, and it really plays along with the rest of us Star Wars nerds here on the stream and you guys in the chat. Like, especially Beskar. Beskar is a ride or die Star Wars guy as well. So Beskar, it's great to have you here. Yeah, and everybody else in the chat, guys. It's been such a fantastic stream, such a great conversation. I very much appreciate it, guys. And again, it's great when it comes to Star Wars. It's great to see everybody excited again, because we've had our ups and downs in the past, really like 5 years. There's been a lot of ups and downs for Star Wars, but it's great to see that excitement coming back, especially as much of a die-hard Star Wars fan as I am and everybody else on the panel. It's so great to see everybody's excitement back, especially for Ahsoka, which has been very near and dear to us because of those characters from Rebels. So great discussion, guys. I hope those of you that are watching this on the replay who couldn't catch us live, I hope you guys enjoy the stream. I think we have a lot of great discussion, a lot of great stuff to jump around on tonight. And I hope we didn't get too crazy with the Ahsoka talk, but it was a fun time. It was a very fun time. But thank you to each and everybody for being here in the chat. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Still 30 people here as we're closing out. That's amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for being here, each and every one of you. And thank you, everybody who popped in and couldn't watch the stream, but you're going to catch on the replay. Big shout out to EvilSneaker, our newest guest here, for hanging out with us, guys. Once again, please check out Steve's channel. There's a link in the description. I've told a couple people, and I've told Steve myself, I very much think that he's a cool dude, and I think his content is really fun and unique. So please check him out. Again, link is in the description. And once again, Steve and I are going to be doing some stuff soon over on his channel, probably when I get back from vacation. And I'm sure Steve will be back with us. Steve, I hope you had a great time with us tonight.
Yeah, man.
I know it's your first time here, but I'd like to say it was great having you, great hearing your thoughts on Star Wars, because it seems like you, Mike, Chris, and I, everybody here on the panel, like we all kind of share similar thoughts, which is awesome. Because often that doesn't happen with figures, there's diverse opinions, but when it comes to Star Wars, I think right now with Star Wars, we need to hear some positive stuff. So it's great that everybody's being positive. But also Chris, Collecting Madness, I know Chris is working on a video and a little bit of a giveaway. He has this Venom here in front of him. So that's a little hint at the video that he just worked on today. Chris, if you'd like to share anything about your video / giveaway before we head out, feel free to do that now.
Yeah, so all it is this vinyl decal that I got, and I got a bunch of them here in this envelope, and basically, sorry for the loud noise, I got a bunch of them here. There's different ones, they got different logos, there's gloss matte. Anyways, basically, when that video goes live, you have to be subbed to the channel, like it, and then comment, and your comment is basically your way to enter into the giveaway. And then whenever, we'll probably do 2 weeks after, I'll announce it more in depth and announce the winner on my channel.
So guys, head on over to Chris's channel, check him out if you haven't already. I'm sure a lot of you guys have, but if you want to win something really cool and you want to customize, because a lot of people have that Tom Hardy Venom, you're probably sitting there like, you son of a bitch, talking about Hot Toys because that new Venom came out and it kind of showed up the Tom Hardy Venom because Sony wasn't able to give us the Venom that we quite wanted. So it's a really cool way to customize it, and Chris has a video that he put together showing how to do it, so that'll be really cool for sure. I see OG Fan is here. What's up, OG Fan? Right before we end out the stream, thank you so much, OG, for being here, one of our great moderators, dropping the links to the channel. I very much appreciate it. And again, guys, all of the links to everything discussed tonight, everybody on the panel that has your channel, all in the description, as well as Off the Racks 1/6kit, Jeremy Casa from Plastic Hero Collectibles. I know a lot of people, especially newer collectors, are looking from reliable places to buy from. Again, I don't make any money, no kickbacks. I don't get anything for recommending those to you guys. I'm just recommending you places that I buy from and I'm comfortable spending my money. So those are people that I know will take care you, whether you say that you came from Hot Toys Hotline or you're just a normal customer, that they have no idea who you are. You know what I mean? So definitely take advantage of that, especially if you're a newer collector. And of course, Sideshow as well. Sideshow, if you're in the US especially, is a very reliable place to buy from. They're kind of the Mac Daddy here when it comes to distribution. So, and then of course, Lane, who is apparently now the 11 p.m. collector. This is the first time I'm hearing of this. He was the midnight collector. I guess with daylight saving times, it's very
that was part of a joke
fitting.
from last night, since I had to leave another stream. I was early, so they said, "Oh man, you're like the 11 p.m. guy now," or something.
Well, so then you and Mike have both gone through a name change recently, because now we have Ahsoka the Mike, and we have Lane the 11, or a legendary Lane, as OG fan would say. We have legendary Lane the 11 p.m.
Put his hat back on.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, who's this guy? You know, oh, there he is. Yeah, you gotta have it for the end of the stream. Come on, dude. That's more fitting. That's more fitting. But thank you so much, Lane, for being here.
Ahsoka Wayland, gotcha.
Sean, the Hot Toys Nightmare guys, again, link is in the description. Sean does have a channel. He does awesome showcases and stuff of all of the crazy amount of stuff that he gets. And you guys think I'm crazy. Sean's got an absolutely insane collection, especially when it comes to troopers. If you want to see some serious army building over there, definitely head on over to Sean's channel and check him out. He's got some really cool stuff over there for sure.
That is correct.
He said, yeah, I'm pretty awesome. And finally, of course, we can't forget Ahsoka the Mike, aka Mike Licorice. Mike, thank you so much for being here, dude, hanging out with us. Thank you for the comedic relief and finally taking advantage of me basically asking you to bring back some props. And
I'm always happy to.
Dude,
always happy to be on it.
That's a funny moment that we'll remember on stream for time to come.
That was really
that
I always have a blast with you guys.
We appreciate it, man. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We're going to end out the stream. 2 hours and 14 minutes, longer than I thought we would go. But very much appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I'll be seeing this guy over here this weekend. I'll be seeing Chris, so look forward to doing that. But guys, I hope you have a great weekend. If I don't talk to you, we'll see you next week on Thursday, as always, at 7 p.m. EST. And then after that, after next week, make sure you're there next week, because after that, I won't be there because I'm going on vacation. So next Thursday is your last chance to see me for a whole week. I know, mind blowing, right? But thank you so much, guys, for everything. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next.